exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and people often ask me, what is the Good Feet store? A shoe store? I respond, we are an arch support store. Most people don't realize that we have 4 arches in the foot. Not only that, but there are 26 bones, 30 joints, and over 100 tendons and ligaments in each foot. There is no way that a mass-produced shoe is going to meet the specific needs of your feet. That's where we come in at the Good Feet store. When you come in, our staff is going to welcome you and listen to your needs. We want to learn about you, your lifestyle, your work, and the types of shoes you enjoy wearing. Then after measuring your feet, we are going to fit you from a selection of over 300 styles and sizes of arch supports. We want to find the right system for you. Haven't you spent enough time trying different shoes and all of the disposable products that are supposed to make your feet feel better? Come into the Good Feet store for a free personalized fitting and test walk with our life-changing arch supports. The Good Feet store is in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Fayetteville, and other locations across North Carolina. Visit goodfeet.com to book your appointment today or just stop by.
You want your team to be number one? Well, come cheer them on at the #1 sports bar at Apex, the Dugout Tavern and Grill, proud member of the official Canes Bar Network. Catch all the NFL and college football games too at the Dugout with a 16-foot video wall and over 30 other big screen 4K TVs inside and out. Sound on, loud and proud. Best lunch spot too. Weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get a burger cooked to temp with a side and beverage for just $10. The Dugout Tavern and Grill, 1413 Kelly Road in Apex, and thedugouttavern.com.
If you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my friends.
For my community.
For everyone here. We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies us. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
They're back!
Milroe with a design run to the right. He's got a first down and then some. He's across midfield. There he goes. Full stride to the 25, the 20. He is gone. 72 yards to the house for Jalen Milroe. And say good night for Alabama. Jalen Milroe's 4th rushing touchdown of the evening. It's a capper.
Oh, and who knows, maybe that was the touchdown that got Alabama into the fake college football rankings. Maybe that was it. Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. It is a Wednesday, which not only is Prince Spaghetti Day. Again, I say that for only people my age. But it is also Wednesday because Victoria's not here again. Graham Hill sitting in for Victoria. What is that hat we have on? Althea. I like the song. Is it for the song?
Althea? Fit in the theme, yes.
Oh, very nice.
Shout out to my good buddy Mitch Bedore That name should ring a bell with
some
Triangle people for leaving this car in my hat. So I figured since I'm filling in.
He left a car in your hat?
Or left a hat in my car. We're off to a good start, folks. Since I'm filling in on the Adam Gold Show, and by the way, for the remainder of the year, it will be a Graham Hill Wednesday until the year of 2025.
Oh, is it every Wednesday now?
The relationship between Victoria and Chip Patterson just cannot be reprimanded.
It's irreparable. Right, irreconcilable differences. Who gets custody?
Here I am, folks. Love me or hate me, we are here for every Wednesday throughout the rest of the year.
So funny.
How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing well, man. I watched the Duke game this morning. We're going to talk about the Duke-Kansas game. I paid attention, not live, but when the rankings were done. I checked them out. I was otherwise running errands, chauffeuring around last night. So I didn't watch the Duke game live. I certainly would never watch that show, that college football ridiculous show, because the rankings don't matter. I'm not glued to a television for things that don't matter. And then before I did turn in last night, I watched episode 2 because I knew I was going to watch the Duke-Kentucky game this morning. I watched episode 2 of The Comeback, the Red Sox coming back to beat the Yankees from down 3-0 in the 2004 American League Championship Series. Episode 1 was the setup, was the year before, the Aaron Boone home run off Tim Wakefield that ended that series. Episode 2 was the lead up to that year, which included the trade that was made of Alex Rodriguez to Boston, from Texas to Boston, before the Players Association put the kibosh on it. And then Alex ended up with the Yankees. And the first half of that season, which was really filled with a lot of turmoil by the Red Sox, and it sort of turned on a bench-clearing brawl between the Yankees and Red Sox in one of their games at Fenway Park. But I haven't gotten to the comeback, but I know the outcome. I think it's just a 3-episode series.
It's just the nostalgic that you want to feel.
Yeah, I just want to see how
they
framed it. And it's very good. A lot of, first-hand accounts. They got Theo Epstein. The Yankee accounts are also great. The one thing I wish we could get away from, because it is cliched and stereotypical and unnecessary, is otherwise, obnoxious fans on both sides, but obnoxious Yankee fans, oh, Boston sucks! Like, what does that add in retrospect to the documentary? Like, it's basically an oral history of this. I don't need fans. I don't need stupid fans. Now it's file footage, so it's not like we're doing this today. They're pulling out news clips or whatever from 2004, but completely unnecessary and doesn't add to the documentary. I wish we could have left all of that stuff out, including the stereotypical, Boston, we never beat the Yankees. We don't need that either. We have access to all of these people who were there, who lived it, from Terry Francona to Joe Torre to Derek Jeter to Alex Rodriguez. We don't need it. All right, I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent on something that's probably not on people's minds just yet. But very, very well done other than that part. And I look forward to episode 3 whenever I can get to it. I don't know if I'm going to get to it, but anytime soon, but we'll see. All right, you ready to play?
Let's do it.
All right. I apologize. We have Luke DeCock today. He's going to join us in about 30 minutes. We'll talk about the basketball game last night. We will talk about the football season, whether ACC or just local football season, and also Hurricanes play tonight against the hockey club.
First time ever.
From Utah. Well, yes. But, it's funny. I get these game notes because I do these, I do the pregame and the postgame and all that. I get the game notes from the team, and they have, like, career versus opponent, right? So I know what Clayton Keller has done for Utah against the Hurricanes in his career. And all of the players who play for the Utah Hockey Club, a name I dig, by the way. And then it flips to Carolina and, their record against Utah, and it's all dashes. Like, stop it. It's the same team. It just relocated from Arizona. Just because a deal was struck to basically say the franchise starts now doesn't mean that the Hurricanes haven't been playing against that team for the last 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, there's a reason why Paul Ihander wore his Arizona Coyotes sweater or hoodie during Next Up this morning.
That's right.
His little hat tip to the former franchise he used to cover.
Today. So we didn't have to do that. Now, it just made more work for me. I had to go and research each player individually, what they did against Arizona. I didn't need that. Why are we doing that? It's a relocation. I get it. Because they wanted this to feel new, they decided to allow the franchise and its records to stay in Phoenix, in Arizona, which, by the way, it's not happening. They're already, that franchise is not regenerating. When the NHL goes to, when they expand again, and they will, if Phoenix doesn't have an arena built, they ain't getting a team. We're going to be many years away from them. I just don't understand.
So I'll make a mental note as the producer when I'm doing the podcast description today to eliminate words such as historic or inaugural or first ever.
I am not treating it as this is a brand new franchise.
Got it.
That's the official position of the show. All right. Again, wasted all of his time before we got to yes, this is topic number 2. It's really topic number 1, and I've talked about 2 other things already. I'm not very good at this. All right, let's get to the basketball game last night. I think this is what makes basketball great. This is what makes the NCAA tournament great. Wait, what does Duke and Kentucky have to do with the NCAA tournament? Work with me here. There are certain sports where you can do everything right and it just doesn't work out. Like, to be perfectly honest, football ain't one of them. The reason why I'm not saying we don't have upsets in football, but the reason why it's so much harder in football is because basically it's a game of physical dominance. In basketball, and you could say the same thing in hockey, where you can beat the other team up and down the ice all game long. The other team either has a great goalie or you have a bad one, and you lose the game. We see it all the time. In basketball, sometimes the ball just doesn't go in. That's it. Sometimes the ball just does not go in. And you could get great shots wide open. You can play good defense. The other team makes some tough shots. You can get a bad call here and there. And you lose the game that you otherwise dominated. Kind of what happened last night. Dominated is probably not the right way of me saying it, but I think if you play that game exactly the same way tonight, bring the 2 teams back to whatever that arena is called in Atlanta, bring the 2 teams back, have the exact same situation, the exact same looks, Duke wins that game by 15 points. They missed so many open shots.
5 of 23 from behind the arc, if I'm not mistaken.
4 of 23.
Even worse.
4 of 23. They were 3 of 12 in the first half and got worse in the second half. They were 1 of 11. And what bothered me, and I love Jay Billis, but he fell trap. What? Whatever.
In a box.
Yeah. Because I've done games, right? Well, I've done games on radio, and they put the stats in front of you. And you see Duke shooting 29% in the second half. Oh, Kentucky's defense must be suffocating. No, it wasn't. Duke could not put the ball in the ocean. But they missed, to that point, they had already missed 4 layups, and they had made 1 3, Cooper Flag, right? They had so many wide open looks, and Jay said Kentucky is contesting every 3. No. In fact, the first 3 in the second half they contested was on that possession that Jay appeared. He's prescient. He's brilliant. I love Jay Billis. He is the best college basketball analyst, but he was flat wrong about that yesterday. Duke could not make shots. All right. It was 77-72 was the final. I'm not sure you've heard this before. Cooper Flagg's just 17. I don't know. Did somebody mention it last night? Did we see it on Twitter that Cooper Flagg is just 17? He won't be 18 until December? Does anybody know that? I'm not sure anybody knows that. If it's the first time you've heard it, credit me with reminding you. Gosh, that was incessant last night. We get it. He's 17. He should be in high school, but he's also amazing at basketball. 26 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 block shots, 3 turnovers, 2 which came on the last 2 possessions for the Blue Devils. And I actually think the third one also came relatively late. He had the ball knocked out of bounds off of his hand, not relatively late, middle of the second half, knocked out of bounds off his fingers and went out. And yet, I mean, he was the best player in the game. Andrew Carr was really nice, by the way, but Cooper Flagg was the best player in the game, and I got people going, I was unimpressed. What the hell is wrong with you? If he was 1 of 5 from three-point range and missed 2 layups, if he makes 1 of the 2 layups and 2 more of the threes, wide open threes, we're talking about a guy who goes for 30 and his team wins, and then you go, my gosh, what a player. You're an idiot if you think if you're really unimpressed, then you were expecting somebody to go for 40 in his first major college game. Get out of here. Just get out of here. And Duke basically ran their entire offense through him all night. I think that's the way it's going to be. Here's John Shire on that.
We're going to be in these moments a lot together, and I trust his instincts, and I probably could have put him in a better position, to be honest. And but he's got to touch it and trust that good things are going to happen. And I wish you could say that every time it's going to work out, and that's not reality. And I'm just so proud of him, man. Again, what he did in that game, he willed us in that game. He willed us, especially down the stretch, to have 12 rebounds. Again, 26, and I think he'd tell you he's got more in him too, but again, I want him to touch it down the stretch.
Look, I think John Shire is playing the long game with Cooper Flagg. I realize it's not really a long game because he's only here 1 year. Same with Con Knipple, same with Kaman Malawash. They're only here for 1 year. They're all gone after this year. Every mock draft is going to have them gone, all 3 of them, before we get to the 10th pick. All of them. Whether Cooper Flagg's going to be the first player off the board or not, I don't know. Rutgers has Ace Bailey and Ron Harper's kid, and they're both phenomenal ball players. And who knows who's going to go 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter. But they're all off the board by 10. Flagg's off the board probably by 2. So, we just people have to stop being like that guy about it. But John Shire's playing the long game in that if they're going to run their offense through him, the outcome of this game matters very little to what happens at the end of the season. So it really is, let's just see. Let's just see what happens. So what we saw happen was Flagg turn it over twice. Okay. And I was going back and forth with Mike DeCourcy on, we were just texting back and forth after I watched the game, and because he and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. And my feeling is he thinks that Duke needs a point guard. I don't disagree with that. I think the big failure last night was that Duke forgot that Tyrese Proctor played a great first half, and that between he and Caleb Foster, they probably should have been more involved in the second half offensively. They were just there because, we have to put 5 on the court. We only have 1 Cooper Flagg and 1 Con Knipple. We got to put 5 on the court, so why don't Foster and Proctor go out? They didn't do much. They barely touched the ball. Foster probably had more shots in the second half than Caleb Foster. But the reality is that last night seemed like, let's just see what happens, and we'll just, because it doesn't really matter, the outcome of this game at the end of the season, unless Duke loses all of their big games, the outcome of the game really didn't matter. Cooper Flagg made some mistakes. Con Knipple was 1 of 8, and he missed tons of wide open looks. I've seen this dude shoot. This guy's going to be a 40-something% three-point shooter this year. He absolutely will. Anyway, it's to me, 3 points about the game very quickly, and then we're going to play. We'll just move on. Duke missed a ton of wide open shots. Duke became a two-man offense in the second half. It was basically all Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel. And 3, they lost the big moments. They did, like a tennis match. You lost the big moments in the game. First 2 minutes of the second half, last 2 minutes of the game, Kentucky owned. Flat out, Kentucky owned. They're a much older team. By the way, Andrew Carr, big game. You know how many times Andrew Carr has played against Duke? Remember, he spent his first 2 years in college playing at the University of Delaware. This is his 5th game against Duke. He has been in double figures in all 5 games. Andrew Carr loves seeing Duke because he was at Wake for the last 2 seasons. Good for Kentucky. I think that program is in very, very good shape. All right, to the fake college football rankings. Oh man, this is great. I love Wednesdays. I'm sorry Victoria is not here for this. Wednesdays get me fired up because of the stupidity that is Tuesday night football, fake football rankings. The college football playoff second set of fake rankings was released last night, and people are mad. Did you know that Georgia, if the season ended today, wouldn't be in the playoff? No, Georgia. Can we live? Paul Feinbaum from ESPN.
Georgia started the season, Greeny, against Clemson, which has been ranked which was in the top 10 at the time. Their road schedule has been the toughest of anyone in the country, as you pointed out. They went to Alabama, Texas, and then Ole Miss. They've all been ranked in the top 10. They also went to Kentucky, which has been very poor, but they did beat Ole Miss, which is ranked inside the system. They have a chance. They'll play Tennessee this weekend, and if they win, they'll probably end up back in the committee's good graces. But how the committee can disrespect them and put schools like Penn State? Are you serious? What has Penn State done this year? Do they even have their most impressive win, I think, was at Southern Cal, a 5-loss team, and against Michigan, another 5-loss team.
First of all, did Paul Feinbaum say Old Miss?
Good question. I hope not, since he's like the SEC media guy.
Pet peeve of mine. People who call them Old Miss.
Ole.
No, it's Ole. Has nothing to do with age. It actually says Ole, L-O-O.
Oh, no, Adam. O-L-E.
Oh, my gosh. O-L-E. Never mind. Edit that out.
All right.
Edit that out when we...
What, the dump button?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It says Ole Miss on the helmet. It's not old. It's old.
I'm just trying to figure out why Paul Feinbaum's trying to sell the fact that Georgia has the toughest strength of schedule.
They do.
When they won the national championship, that's expected.
No, but it's not like the NFL where if you finish first in your division, you get a hard schedule. It just worked out that they have a hard schedule. They played Tennessee this week. They were at Alabama. They were at Texas. Right? They have played a very difficult schedule. As a matter of fact, strength of schedule is number 1 in the country. It seems like it should be based on who they've played. There's zero chance unless Georgia loses to Tennessee on Saturday when the game is in Athens. Unless they lose that game and maybe another, because I think Georgia gets in even with 3 losses because they've got good wins. Georgia's already, they beat Clemson. I get it. They won at Texas. They still have Tennessee. Georgia Tech's not a terrible team. It's very funny how I was listening to a podcast talk about it, and they're like, well, Clemson's got Miami lost to Georgia Tech. That's a bad loss. Mike, it's not that bad a loss on the road. You don't want to lose it, but have you been paying attention? Georgia Tech's actually pretty good.
They've been a feisty team all season.
Just like Alabama's actually not Alabama. Well, they are, but Vanderbilt is pretty good. It's a pretty good team. They're not a national championship contender. They're not a playoff contender, but there are only 12 of those, and there are losses and wins over teams that won't make the playoff that are pretty good. I actually think Georgia Tech's a pretty capable team, so I'm not bent out of shape over that. That's not a deal breaker to me. But here's what we're going to find out, and what we sort of found out last night, if it matters, and again, I don't think it does, but if we are assigning any importance to it, It reinforces something that I have said forever when it comes to college football. And people who have heard me talk about this know what's coming. Your strength of schedule doesn't matter. It only matters in terms of extreme tiebreakers, or if they have a narrative they want to enforce, they will then hold your schedule against you, because Penn State and Indiana have beaten nobody. I am not saying that neither school belongs in the top 12. They are in my top 12. When I did this on Monday, I had Penn State as the 11th team. I had Indiana as the 8th team. Not 4 and 5. Penn State isn't the 4th best team in the country. Based on what? They have the best win for both schools is against Illinois, 3-3 in the Big Ten, a 500 team in the Big Ten. Illinois is not terrible. I'm not saying that. They're fine. They're okay. But Illinois is 6-3 because the non-conference teams they played are awful. Awful. With I think a combined 6 wins overall for their 3 non-conference opponents. 6, that's it. Not 6 conference wins, 6 wins combined. Illinois just isn't all that. Anyway, strength of schedule does not matter. They can pretend it matters. Chip Patterson, who's going to come on here in about 45 minutes, he will tell me it matters. And I love Chip. He is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. I am going to laugh if he says that to me, because it doesn't matter. It only matters when they find it convenient. The only thing that matters, how many wins do you have? Which is why SMU or Clemson could still get in. If Clemson wins out and looks impressive, I think Clemson will get in at 10-2. They got to beat South Carolina really badly, and they need to win their next 2 games before then pretty convincingly. But if they win those 2 games, I think Clemson gets in. I think Clemson plays Pitt, if not this week.
I know they have the Citadel remaining on their schedule along with South Carolina.
South Carolina.
So maybe Pitt, Citadel, and South Carolina.
So if they win these games, and Clemson, Pitt this week. Clemson beats Pitt convincingly, even if Pitt isn't great, but Clemson's got to do that, and then beat South Carolina soundly. Yeah, I think Clemson's got a chance to make the playoff. I think SMU, if they go 11-1 in the regular season and lose to Miami in the ACC championship game, they got a chance to make the playoff. If they beat Miami, Miami's got a chance to make the playoff as long as Miami doesn't, go down their leg between now and the end of the regular season.
Doesn't cristobal all over themselves.
Yeah, well, they've tried to do that. All right. I'm sorry, I rambled all over the place. We're going to talk to Luke DeCock on the other side. Hurricanes play tonight in Utah to wrap up this 3-game road trip. 11-3-1 on the season. By the way, two results from the NHL last night that caught my eye. Devils played a great game and beat Florida 4-1. Going into the season, when you look at the Devils roster, you go, they might have the best roster in the East. Actually, Florida's the best team. There's no doubt. I thought that last year too. Florida's the best team. But in the Metropolitan Division, the Devils might have the best roster. I still think their goaltending is somewhat suspect. I am not a Jacob Markstrom stan, but Winnipeg going into Madison Square Garden and laying it to the Rangers, that was eye-opening.
What the Jets are doing right now is insane.
They are 15-1?
I believe so.
I think they're 15-1.
I would love to know. You might know. When's the last time an NHL team had that great of a start to the season?
I have no idea, but it's probably find-outable, if that's even a word. I'm just reading on the story, and we'll probably get the answer to that. But Winnipeg, they were all over the Rangers from jump. And good for them, first of all. They're a great team. They have the best goalie in the world. Connor Hellebuck's allowed 4 goals in his last 125 shots at him. And the Rangers are a little bit of a mess Mika Zibanejad was minus the game. I was -3 or -4. It's just awful. He is off to a terrible start, and hopefully that continues through the game where they come here in about a week and a half. Because we're gonna see Dallas, the Rangers, and Florida in 3 games the week of Thanksgiving. Dallas on Monday, I think it's Rangers on Wednesday, Florida the day after Thanksgiving. Then the Hurricanes go to Florida for a Saturday game. That's a hell of a week. Those are 3 great teams and 4 great games. All right, Luke DeCock's going to join us on the other side. This is the Adam Gold Show. Graham Hill in for Victoria. Do I sound keyed up to you?
Yeah, you sound fired up.
I feel like I'm under-caffeinated today at the same time. All right, well, I'll see if I can calm down. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina.
Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 8:30.
Here come the Hats! A natural hat trick for Marty Natchez. 3-0 Carolina.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold from my friends down at Diamonds Direct Crabtree. I have missed Barack. I have seen Barack. I have seen the showroom at Diamonds Direct Crabtree. And you know what? You know what's coming up. Santa is about to come down the chimney. And Santa wants to bring her a little box. A little nice box with shining things in it. Sometimes they're colored gemstones. Sometimes they're just flat diamonds. They are incredible. And at Diamonds Direct Crabtree, you're going to pay less than you're going to pay anywhere else in the world for the highest quality diamond you can find. 20% less. Because there is no middleman markup. You're buying directly from the diamond manufacturers. You will save money, and a lot of money. Hey, I'm not made out of money, but that's where I go. Diamonds Direct Crabtree for her this holiday season on Glenwood Avenue in front of Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh.
'Tis the season for family and friends. 'Tis the season for gifting. And 'tis the season for making holiday dreams come true. 'Tis the season for using the old-timey contraction 'tis. And 'tis the time of year for holiday scratch-offs. With over $85 million in total prizes, 'tis the best gift of all.
'Tis the season to gift endless joy with holiday scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.06 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Now finance and get $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 12/2/24.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to protect people's health, to preserve magnificent places and wildlife, and to combat climate change. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice. because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161. This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the ones and twos today. Victoria is at we have something here at the company called Long-Term Luncheon, where we have a lot of long-term employees get invited to a centralized location. And the powers that be, they stand up and they talk about the company, and you eat great food, and they give you gifts. And then we come back to work and take naps. I've done that before, but they strategically put me on the air at noon, so I don't have to do I can't do any of these things. We also have all of our birthday celebrations strategically located or scheduled for when the show is on, so I'm not allowed to go.
Dang, you're going to miss my birthday party this month.
Yes, I will. I miss all birthday parties. All fun things are done so Adam can't attend. But I get a chance to talk to Luke DeCock of the News and Observer, who joins us on the Adam Gold Show. There's so many things for us to discuss today, Luke. Let's start with the Hurricanes, shall we?
Sure.
You and I have talked about this. I think we all expected them to be good. 14 games into the season. And I know it is a relatively small sample size. I think they're better than good. What's your read on this group at the 1/7th mark of the season?
Yeah, I thought the hand wringing over them missing the playoffs was a little excessive. My feeling on this team was that the big difference between this year and the last few years, at least kind of since COVID, when they were had sort of peaked in that little window to contend, was that the variance was going to be higher, that this was a team that, could potentially not be as good as the last few years. Maybe it would even be better. And I think what you're seeing and what you've seen so far is the sort of best case of might be better. If you're scoring at least 4 goals a game, doesn't matter that Freddie's on sabbatical again. If you add a guy like Jack Roslovic, who's just a finisher. And look, I'll be honest, of all of their offseason acquisitions, Roslovic was the one that maybe impressed me least. But this guy has been exactly what the Hurricanes needed. And the counterfactual that I would offer up to you is, on a team that has a ton of guys who make plays, what would this team have looked like the last 2 years using the roster and salary and lineup spot that Teuvo Teravainen occupied on a guy like Roslovic, who's maybe not as good an overall player as Teravainen, but is stronger in the one area where Teravainen wasn't. And look, I love Turbo as a player. I love him as a guy. I loved his sense of humor, delightfully morose. But they needed a guy like Jack Roslovic a lot more than they needed another guy like Teuvo Teravainen. So I think, you've seen some tweaks in there that have really sort of helped things fall into place a little bit. A guy like Eric Robinson is a guy who, you heard over the summer that this wasn't the biggest name they signed, but this was a guy who maybe had a lot in common with Jordan Martinook in 2018, a guy who was going to come in and just sort of, fit and do well here, regardless of what he'd done elsewhere before because of the way he plays. I think we've seen that. I think we still haven't, I don't think, seen the best of William Carrier, who, I'm increasingly looking incorrect in this, but I still think that there's going to be a point in time where he ends up in the top 6 because he is that guy who can go get a puck and make plays and has the skill to play with better players and do some things. Maybe that doesn't happen until the playoffs, but I still think that's a possibility. So when you look at the guys they brought in, they do different things. They're bigger up front, and that's all sort of panned out as expected. Now, if you were to say that Marty Necas was going to be on pace for 140 points, you would probably expect them to be off to a decent start anyway. But they've done it, obviously, with Freddie being hurt. I think the one big question mark about everything they did and the way things have gone, the trend in the NHL right now is to get bigger on defense. And that second pairing, if that's what we're calling it, of Walker and Gostisbehere is not big. That's an area where they did get smaller from Shea and Pesce. So I think that's sort of hanging out there and will hang out there until the postseason as an unanswered question. But I think a lot of what they did and a lot of the things that Eric Tulsky did that were, and I don't mean this in any pejorative way, predictable, because he did the kind of things that the publicly available analytics would suggest would improve your team's shot totals and expected goals and possession and all those things. They've panned out. And so you say, all right, here we are, we're a month into the season. We're a decent chunk in. The sample's small, but it's not tiny. And a lot of the things that we hoped would happen, whether it's Necas or the new guys, have happened. Is it going to be difficult to keep some of this up? A little bit. Like, I don't think Marty Necas is going to keep, shooting 35%. But, but that's fine. The little regression there isn't going to hurt anybody. But yeah, my concern, especially after watching the Tampa game, and I know you felt to a degree the same way, was it was going to take a while for all the pieces to fall into place.
It took one game.
That happens. Yeah, that happens. And it literally took 6 hours.
It took one game.
Not even. It was really the next practice.
Yep.
They kind of all got pulling on the rope the same direction and have gone from there. So, you have one bad game in St. Louis where the goaltending doesn't play well. You have 2 games in Colorado and Tampa where your stars got outplayed by the other team's stars, and that's it. That's pretty good for November.
Yeah. I actually think that since the Tampa game, Carolina has played about 20 bad minutes. That's it, 20 bad minutes. They were sloppy against Philly, but they outplayed Philadelphia for the entirety of that game. The 10 minutes they played from the shorthanded goal to the end of the second period in Colorado and the middle of the second period against St. Louis is the only bad stretches they've played. I think if the Hurricanes were smart, and I actually think they have tried this, I would be signing Eric Robinson right now to a contract extension. I am more bullish on his fit here, as well as Roslovic has played. I am more bullish that Eric Robinson is a long-term Hurricane than Jack Roslovic. Let me move on to the football portion of this program. I know the college football playoff rankings came out, and we'll hit that if we have time. Mac Brown and company, they've got 3 games. I think they have 3 games left. They're still looking for, or whatever, I think they have 3 games left. They're still looking for a bowl game. They have to win one more. Where are you on North Carolina and North Carolina State as we wind this season down?
Where am I? I'm anywhere else. There's not a lot of there with either of these teams at this point. I don't find either of their seasons particularly interesting or compelling. As far as I'm concerned, they can both play out the string. If they want to win 6 and go to a bowl game, great. Detroit is lovely this time of year, and I am a
Shreveport. You don't want to go to Shreveport?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to Birmingham?
Consideration. Yeah. So we don't.
The Military Bowl. Annapolis is lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a little fitting if Mac's second stint in North Carolina started with a Military Bowl and ended with a Military Bowl.
So, yeah.
Annapolis is great. Look, the great thing right now about the state of the ACC in football, the one really nice thing you could say about the ACC in football is that the bad bowls are all still pretty good. So wherever you're.
Thank you, Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That is a thank you to Notre Dame.
Not much else you can thank Notre Dame for, but yeah,
man, we disagree on that. Look, I like Notre Dame in the ACC for whatever they are.
I mean, I think it's. I think. Well, it's a whole different discussion. I think the scheduling agreement with Notre Dame has actually been good for the ACC. I think the idea that Notre Dame gets a full vote in ACC affairs is a disgrace. but that is a completely different discussion. But yeah, look, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about State and Carolina football because I don't think there is a lot to say.
Here's the thing about it. It was probably a too broad of a question to frame that way anyway. North Carolina, to me, has not been disappointing. They have been. This has been predictable. North Carolina being bad defensively, horribly bad, but occasionally showing you that they could be good if the planets align. This is North Carolina. NC State, I am baffled that with all of that talent, and the talent, the Jolies, the other receivers, Jordan Waters hasn't had a good year, but they've got enough skill position talent. I am baffled that their offense has been, other than the Stanford game, awful. And I don't think the problem is C.J. Bailey. They were awful before. And has anybody seen Casey Concepcion?
Yeah. All right. Well, first of all, good self-scouting by you. Those are two much better questions / prompts.
Thank you.
About each.
I'm not always good at this.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you getting better. As far as Carolina,
2 turnovers late in the game. I'm 17.
Well, hey, Duke won after turning it over 6 times, or Duke lost after getting 6 turnovers. With UNC, I am a little disappointed because I did think at this point in Mac's tenure, if he was ever going to address some of what are now generational difficulties on defense that might have happened with the new defensive coordinator and some personnel turnover. Obviously, it didn't. I think the epitaph on this UNC season, I think it's already kind of been written, is that Mac probably should have gone out with Drake May. You and I have discussed this before. He would have left the program. He still is going to, but he would have left the program on much sounder footing, on a much more solid foundation. But the fact that he did stay, he was the right person in the right place at the right time to get this team through losing a teammate.
Right.
And the way that Carolina, the team, the players, Mac, the school, the football program has handled Tylee Craft's, terribly sad passing, is a commendation to all of them. They should all be commended. The players have dug in and recommitted to the game and to playing in his honor. Mac has handled the situation with grace and humanity, and I'm not sure there are a ton of college football coaches who would be able to do that, and they've given the community something to rally around in the season when their performance on the field, certainly the low point of the JMU game, has not given them much. So I think that's what we're going to remember. I hope that's what we remember about this season, is how a group of football players and a football program and a coach handled a very difficult situation in a very human and graceful way. But is the program on some kind of upward trajectory where you say, yes, let's have more of this? No. Mac did what he came back to do, right? He re-professionalized this program. He put it on solid footing. It's in better shape. It's not a laughing stock. It's respected. The relationships with the high school coaches in the state have been rebuilt. He regardless of how this ends this year, if this is Mac's last year, he did what he came here to do. And the Tylee Craft stuff, as difficult as that was, I think is a bit of a sort of – bonus is the wrong word, but it was good that he was here for that. As for State.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop you there because we are coming up on a break that I can't go past. So I'm going to have I wish I didn't have to do this, but we're going to have to leave it right there. But your final point on Mac is, fortunate that he was in charge at this time, because I do think that Mac has empathy that we don't often see from college football coaches. He is blessed with that ability to be human. And I just don't think we see enough of that in college football. Luke DeCock, I'm sorry I cut you short, but that's all right. We'll do it again, and I appreciate you bearing with bad questions. But appreciate your time. At Luke DeCock on Twitter. I'll see you at the rink pretty soon.
Yeah, we got you fixed up. That's good. Progress.
Thanks, man. Luke DeCock here on the News and Observer. Here's the thing. I wanted to hear what Luke had to say. I'm going to have to call him later and find out what he thinks about State. Because I said what I thought about State. I still don't understand where KC Concepcion is. We will talk about that, I'm sure. And we're also going to have one-timers. I don't know. Maybe there's a one-timer question about KC Concepcion. I don't know. It's up to Graham Hill. He's got questions for me. I will answer them next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Oh, the NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do to catch every tip-off, every buzzer beater, every dunk is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Open enrollment for health insurance is here. But don't worry, North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power. Whether you're home or away, power your life with a Generac home standby generator. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
According to the latest report on farmland loss in the United States, North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. If you own land that may be converted from agricultural use, the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services may be able to help. Grants for the purchase of development rights are available through the North Carolina Agricultural Development and Farmland Preservation Trust Fund. Landowners can learn more at ncadfp.org.
Having health insurance is important. So, if you or anyone in your family has Medicaid or CHIP, listen up. Check your mail for a renewal form from your state. Complete the form and mail it back right away so you don't lose your coverage. If you do lose Medicaid or CHIP, visit healthcare.gov to see if you're eligible to enroll in a low-cost, quality health plan. Keep your family covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
It's that time of year when we pack our bags for exciting adventures with friends and family. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated. So make sure you don't miss that flight and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider for your updated flu and COVID-19 shots. Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we
seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria not here today. We have Graham Hill. He's on the ones and twos. It'll be a kind of a best of the 70s and 80s day.
Yes, when I think back on all the crap I learned in high school, this is why I'm working on radio now. I'm kidding.
No.
It's great to be here, Adam.
No, it's take my wife, please. It's like Henny Youngman showing up. Nobody listening knows who Henny Youngman is. All right, let's do it. We have Q&A time.
Well, since you teased it going to the break, of course I had to come back and ask a question about Casey Concepcion's future with the NC State Wolfpack. So, simply put, is Casey Concepcion going to be on NC State football's roster next season, or does he enter the transfer portal? Because after the performance against Duke and the fact that he did not get one single catch.
Was there a performance against Duke?
You know what? That's even better put.
All right, here's the thing about Casey Concepcion, because I was writing this down. I went back and looked at it. Last season, he was the only game in town, right? It was it. He was their entire offense last season.
That's the whole reason the second half of their season flipped, because they realized, oh, this guy's pretty good. Let's get him the ball.
You're talking about combined about 1,100 yards of combined yards rushing and receiving, and he got more and more important as the year went on. He was it. He was the only game. This year, they bring in tons of help. Right? How many two wide receivers, the tight end, another running back, two running backs that were here one that was here last year. They actually brought in two running backs, right? Hollywood Smothers is here. He wasn't here last year, just Kendrick Raphael was here last year, right? So all of a sudden we have all these new players, and you think that it would make Casey Concepcion more dangerous, and what it has done, it's disappeared him. He's had a couple of flashpoint plays, but the numbers are staggering. How about a game, 9 touches, 22 total yards, 4 touches, 5 yards, 10 touches, 38 yards. I forget exactly who these were against, but for State fans, you'll remember the games. 3 touches, 42 yards. He had 5 touches, 55 yards, but he had a 32-yard catch in that game. So it's really 4 catches for 23 yards. His yards per touch way down, less than half that they were a year ago. So he has completely disappeared. The answer to your question is he probably won't be, because most of these guys will be here. And I just don't see how this is going to coexist because KC has really been disappointing all year long.
Fair enough. It is a hockey night in Carolina. The Hurricanes take on the Utah Hockey Club for the first step. Take on the Utah Hockey Club tonight. Adam Gold, Stormwatch right here begin at 8:30. And I got to know something, Adam, since you are a resident Canes insider. Seth Jarvis, do you think he'll be back on the ice tonight? And if not, is this a cause for concern going forward?
Oh, yeah, it's a cause for concern. Seth Jarvis played last year with a torn labrum and a torn rotator cuff. He played for 75% of the season. It happened like in November, about this time.
And a broken finger during the playoffs.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, absolutely. Far less problematic in terms of long-term success. If the injury is related, and I want to say that I have no idea. I think we're all just assuming that the injury, and we're not saying this is an injury, whatever's keeping him out of the lineup, we're just assuming that it's related to the shoulder injury that he had last year. So it may not be, and in that case, not really concerned, but I will say this. He played 3/4 of the season with that injury last year. So it's got to be whatever's keeping him out hurts, because that dude is a tough little bug. So, yeah, I'm concerned by it. You got one quick one?
Sure. Does Carolina become bowl eligible this weekend by defeating Wake Forest?
No. Wake wins. I think we're
in agreement on that.
We're coming to the last game of the season with the Tar Heels and the Wolfpack. One win for a bowl game.
11.5, way too big of a spread considering the previous matchups.
Yeah, Wake's, plucky. Plucky.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Do you know what day it is? Yes, you do know what day it is. It is that day. America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel, has you covered with the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Now, every Wednesday, you can get a parlay profit boost on everything: spreads, totals, player props, all of it. Don't let the weekend have all the fun. Take advantage. Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Who knows? It might become your favorite day. And why wouldn't it? It's Hump Day. Find the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hey, bud, why the long face? Got laid off again, like the third time since the plague. You should move back in with your parents. What? Well, let's go to Sharky's. Now that's a good idea. Hey, they hiring? No chance they'd hire you, but Sharky's is my favorite spot, and I just love hanging there.
Sharky's it is. We can discuss a new job over a cold beer and the best wings ever.
He's right, you know. No one's gonna hire you. Move back in with your parents. Sharky's, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox from my friends at Loan Pronto. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
This holiday season, Zero Res is hosting a food drive. When you get 3 rooms cleaned and donate non-perishable food, they'll clean a 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
As we go under 4 minutes to play in the opening quarter, the Blue Devils leading 5-0. Deep drop all day. Murphy going to load the cannon on the right for Jordan Moore. And it's a touchdown! Jordan Moore from 45 yards out has his 6th of the season. And Malik Murphy dancing on the Wolfpack logo at midfield.
Yeah, he has every right to dance.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the 1s and 2s today. Chip Patterson will join us. He always does on Wednesdays. He will join us in 15 minutes. We will talk a lot about the college football playoff. Duke is not involved in it. They will not be involved in it. But they kindly did not stop SMU from being involved in it when they refused to win that game. We'll talk to Chip about the playoff, the rankings, and all of that, how the ACC can get 2 teams into the field, and I think they can. I don't think there's a great chance of it, but I do think there's a decent chance of it. Not a great one, decent. Great would be 50% or higher. I think it's probably closer to 30%, but I think there is a chance. So you say there's a chance. All right, second take on the news of the day. So let's get right to take 2 here. And Graham Hill is on the 1s and 2s. So let's start with the basketball game last night. And for the sake of clarity, and I did when we talked about this in the first segment, I did say that I thought that Duke shot the ball poorly, and that is why they lost. Flat out, same game tomorrow, Duke wins that game, or tonight, Duke wins that game by 15 points, maybe more. Because I do think it came down to couldn't shoot. Because there were tons of open looks. I also said, but did not emphasize, that in the biggest moments of the game, Kentucky was better. First 2 minutes of the second half, Kentucky took a 9-point deficit, cut it to 4. The end of the game, when Duke had multiple chances to either extend the lead or retake the lead, Kentucky was tougher. Flat out tougher. And in my conversation with Mike DeCourcy this morning of the Sporting News, we talked about a number of things. My read on the Wildcats program is that I think fans had grown frustrated with John Calipari. And not just recently because they had had no success at all in the tournament. They became bad in the NCAA. Flat out awful in the NCAA tournament. But I thought that frustration really started growing back when they were great because John always de-emphasized the performance of the team in terms of how far they went in the tournament when he was more focused on their performance in the NBA draft. Like, to me, that was always self-medicating. Might be great for you, John, but you know who it isn't great for is your fans. Your fans want championships. They want banners. They want Final Fours. They want national championships. And you gave them one. Other Final Fours, but you gave them one national championship. And heck, how long ago? It was more than a decade ago. So I think they were just growing frustrated. I think Mark Pope's going to be great for that program. I think he's an outstanding basketball coach. And that is a much older team, a tougher team, a more physically mature team. I think they're going to be very good. They are very good. They're very good right now. They deserve to win the game. But, I mean, if we're being honest about the game, I mean, Duke kind of let him off the hook. The Duke just shot the ball very poorly. At the end of the game, Cooper Flag. By the way, I thought both turnovers were forced by Kentucky. They were just not somebody dribbling it off his foot. They defended him well. And I think in some ways, John Shire decided to let's see what happens by giving the ball to Cooper Flag, really the entire game, but in the closing seconds.
We're going to be in these moments a lot together, and I trust his instincts, and I probably could have put him in a better position, to be honest. And but he's got to touch it and trust that good things are going to happen. And I wish you could say that every time it's going to work out, and that's not reality. And I'm just so proud of him, man. Again, what he did in that game, he willed us in that game. He willed us, especially down the stretch, to have 12 rebounds. Again, 26, and I think he'd tell you he's got more in him too, but again, I want him to touch it down the stretch.
Well, he touches it all game. They run their offense through him and Con Knippel. I do think that when Duke self-scouts the reasons they did not win the game last night, I think they will determine that they simply need to spread the ball around a little bit more, because what I think will ultimately happen is it will take some of the pressure off of Cooper Flagg. They barely, if at all, used Tyrese Proctor in the second half. He was on the court, it seemed like, because they needed an extra guy.
Caleb Foster was pretty much non-existent with just 4 points in total.
Right, but I thought Foster had the ball some in the second half. I don't think Tyrese Proctor had much of the ball at all. I think Foster, for whatever reason, had opportunities in the second half. He missed a couple, probably 4 or 5 shots in the second half. I'm not sure Proctor took more than one.
Do you believe that they're missing the presence of Jeremy Roach a little bit, or at least in last night's game, as far as somebody that can distribute the ball and see the floor well and get guys open?
Well, that's
looks?
Proctor. That's not Roach's. Roach is a scorer to me. He's a scoring point guard. Now, if you had Roach on the court with the two, with Knippel and Flagg, maybe that threesome gives them a better chance.
Yeah.
But Roach wasn't coming back to play with Proctor and Caleb Foster. So it's a choice that Duke made. I personally think Foster is probably going to be here another year, and you're just not going to have those guys coexist. So, yeah, maybe. But ultimately, this game came down to Duke missed a ton of open shots, including some layups, including some close-in shots. Foster missed like a wide-open 5-footer.
I remember that sequence where he shot a three, it went off the rim, and it somehow got popped back out to him. Same exact spot, same exact location.
Yeah, short.
Another three off the rim again.
Yeah, short. And he missed a bunny inside. I mean, those 5-footers aren't necessarily, they're not gimmies. But you're probably shooting about 70% on them. And he didn't. He missed 70% of them last night. All right, so the college football playoff ranking came out yesterday. Greg McElroy from ESPN, Jets legend also, by the way. What jumped out to you?
What I'm most fascinated by is when I look at those possible first-round matchups, the Southern teams, Alabama, heading to what might be a snowy environment in Bloomington, Indiana on December 20th at night is mind-blowing to me. Penn State is in a position to host. Ohio State's in a position to host. That's, I think, why the home game was brought to this format, is the possibility of teams playing out of their comfort zone like a Southern team playing in the snow.
Why are we talking about fictitious matchups?
It almost sounds like we're trying to plan out. It almost sounds like, Adam, you and I are going to play EA College Sports. We're going to play a game together. I'll be Alabama. You can be Utah. And let's make it a weather and condition game.
Why are we
That's kind of what I got out of that soundbite right there.
Why are we doing that? It's fake. It's a fake ranking. Why are we then like? Do we have lines? Can we bet? Can I bet on them? Can I? Whoever's playing at Penn, whatever.
Whichever Northern team is coming down to play Alabama, give me roll tide.
If there's a line, we can place a bet. All right, Heather Dinich from ESPN, who started out as an ACC reporter. What happens if Clemson wins the ACC?
It's not a reservation at the table for the Power Four conferences. So consider this. If Clemson wins the ACC, you have a 2-loss ACC champ. Do they put Boise ahead of them as a 1-loss Mountain Conference champion? Boise gets the bye. What happens if SMU beats Miami? They have a 1-loss ACC champ. But again, to my point, where are they ranked tonight? What do they think of a potential ACC champion that's ranked behind 3 2-loss SEC teams tonight? How does that bode for the future if SMU wins the ACC?
All right, I'm nothing against Heather Dinich. We're trying too hard here. We're just trying too hard to come up with controversy. Whatever. The ACC champ will be in the top 4. Boise's not undefeated. They're just not. They have a loss. They're not going to be ranked in the top 4 when if Clemson were to win the league. Because, by the way, if Clemson were to win the league and they win out and win the league, they would have beaten 3 really good teams to do it. So we can't, these things don't, we'll just put Clemson there. They haven't beaten anybody, except they would have beaten Pitt, they would have beaten South Carolina, and they would have beat either Miami or SMU, which means that their resume would look good. They'd be in the top 4. Let's not play silly games. Chip Patterson is going to join us when we come back. They talked about this on the Cover 3 podcast yesterday. I listened to it this morning. It is a great listen, and the next 20 minutes with Chip will be a great listen as well. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
The Blue Devils up 21-20, and they got their arms reaching for that bell.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
Adam Gold here from my man, Coach Pete D'Arruda, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. Are you ready for retirement? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but do you even know? I know who you can call. Coach Pete D'Arruda, he can help. 888-843-0013, or you can text Adam to 600-700. Same difference. The second part, you don't have to deal with the human being until you get to Coach Pete. And by the way, he is the best in the world at retirement planning. I said so. Here's the other thing you need to know. I'm not sure you're aware. We had an election not that long ago, and we're going to have a change in administrations. How will that impact your retirement planning? Coach Pete can help. He will customize a retirement plan for you free of charge. To your friend, it's going to cost $1,000. I'm saving you $1,000 because I know Coach Pete, and now you know Coach Pete. 888-843-0013, or text Adam to 600-700 for Coach Pete D'Arruda.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season, and that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
'Tis the season for family and friends. 'Tis the season for gifting. And 'tis the season for making holiday dreams come true. 'Tis the season for using the old-timey contraction 'tis. And 'tis the time of year for holiday scratch-offs. With over $85 million in total prizes, 'tis the best gift of all.
'Tis the season to gift endless joy with holiday scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.06 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
For the 4th year in a row, the Durham Sports Commission is proud to present the Champion Durham Classic, a premier high school basketball invitational taking place in the Bull City. As the high school basketball season heats up, you won't want to miss out on all the action. From November 21st to 23rd at Hillside High School in Durham, this exciting sporting event will feature both boys and girls teams from local schools like Jordan, Hillside, Southern, and Cardinal Gibbons. Get your tickets today at DurhamNCSports.com.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close, and that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. It is Wednesday, and apparently irreconcilable differences have been cited, and Victoria will no longer be here on Wednesdays. Clearly, a rift has formed in the relationship between Chip Patterson and Victoria, and there's just nothing we can do about it. She will not be here on Wednesdays the balance of the year. I'm kidding. It has just worked out. But so, Chip, it's just you and me. And Graham. Graham's here, too. How are you?
Be careful what you post on social media. It could become evidence in a court of law.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. See, she misses you. She got here today, and she said, tell Chip I said hi.
Yeah, she could have said that herself if she wasn't taking off every Wednesday for the rest of the calendar year. But, we all make our choices, and we live with the consequences.
Man, when I'm out Wednesday, Chip, you will attest to this, I reschedule you.
That's true.
I don't like to miss a Chip Patterson Wednesday. All right. I listened to the Cover 3 podcast. I thought it was just you and Tom Fornelli yesterday reacting to the college football rankings. You guys do a lot of great things, and I have no qualms at all about promoting your podcast. First of all, Cover 3 is amazing. Sunday, it's the best thing going for me Sunday morning. But your reaction to the rankings every college football fan should listen. So thank you very much for doing that. It crystallizes a lot of things for me. I didn't realize that Tom was not a huge fan of this whole process, which is good. I really didn't. I didn't realize that because I think we come at it with a larger dose of skepticism. So after the rankings came out yesterday, is there more merit to what I have said forever, which is they don't really care about who you play?
They care about who you beat.
Do they?
End, I think that they care about. I think they care about who you beat when it comes to splitting ties among teams that they find similar.
Yeah. As a tiebreaker, yes. To enforce a narrative, yes. But, and I'm not saying, I think Indiana and Penn State, they're both in my field. I did my own bracket on Monday, and I had Indiana as an 8 and Penn State as an 11, and they have them 4th and 5th in the ranking. How on
which
this
is different? Which is also, first of all, let's go ahead and expand to 16, or let's go ahead and just expand to 14, because I cannot handle your seed number and your ranking number both being presented at the same time. College football fan, this is legalese that is intended to make you confused so that they can just force you to the final result. It is, in my opinion, just so hard for fans to wrap their mind around, because the really hardcore fans don't care. The really hardcore fans root for their team, and they want their team to win. And if their team gets included, it was the right decision. And if their team does not get included, then it was all a conspiracy against it. You're so deep into your own well that's those are the only results. But there are pro sports fans across America that thought the idea of the college football playoff was really interesting and are watching, especially in a large, big event, the lead in to the Cooper Flag show and everything else. Yeah. I think a lot of sports fans watched it. They said, wait, hold on. So the 5 is actually the 2, and the 4 is actually the 6, and the 3 is the 9. And it's just, it is not doing a good job of promoting the product. It is not doing a good job of getting people to buy into the idea that this is going to be something that's good for college football. So, what are the answers to it? I say just expand even more moving forward.
Let's go to 16.
ultimately, let's just clean this up because it is incredibly confusing for fans to get their mind around exactly what's happening.
And I don't believe, I absolutely do not believe that the top 4 conference champions should automatically get buys.
Right. If you want to give them spots. in the bracket, that is perfectly fine. But let's actually go in, and we can have automatic qualifiers. I do not think we should have this silly automatic bye process.
No, I don't think we should have automatic qualifiers other than those 4 conference champions.
Well, you've got to have,
and the 5th one.
You've got to have 5 to avoid antitrust.
Right.
So.
No, right. That's why Boise State's going to, find themselves, or Army maybe, is going to find itself.
Or Tulane.
Or I guess, it could be. Right. Somebody, one of those group of 5 teams is going to find themselves in the field. And I'm not against it. I mean, fundamentally, I think we should just have the best teams and be done with it. And if they all come from the Southeastern Conference, that's fine. I really don't care. I actually think you can make an argument that 6 teams from the SEC should be in this field. I'm not even joking that you could have half of this field could be from the Southeastern Conference. I won't cry because to me, and I've said this forever, if we're going to have this, I understand we have to, follow some rules for rules' sake, but after we get the 5 automatic bids, the next 11 spots, actually, that would be if we expand to 16, the next 7 spots should simply go to whoever we decide are the 7 best teams. I don't care if they all come from the same league. I said in the 4-team playoff, if all 4 teams came from the SEC, I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. I just don't.
But, and again, not to recycle conversations we've had before, but I do think that I think it is unhealthy for the sport if we drift too far into the power ratings world, and if we drift too far into the who would beat who on a neutral field world, because that's not college football. We don't have enough data within the context of a season for even the models to be correct, and we've got a whole season full of upsets of double. We've got Georgia Tech as a double-digit underdog to Miami, taking them down. We've got Northern Illinois as a 3-touchdown underdog to Notre Dame, taking them down in their home stadium.
Yeah.
So it is always wrestling best versus most deserving. And while the college football playoff in its own founding documents is only asking for best, I would ask the college football playoff, for the sake of the sport, that you also focus on most deserving, because most deserving makes the games matter. And the more you focus on best and less on most deserving, the games won't matter as much.
Chip Patterson is joining us here, as he does every Wednesday. And just like Victoria misses every Wednesday. The fact that Georgia is not in this field right now, made me laugh, because I don't care what Ward Manuel or the rest of the committee members in perpetuity will say. It's a TV show. They want people to be talking about this, and the best way to get them talking about it is to leave maybe not the best team, but maybe the best team out entirely when it doesn't matter. When Georgia beats Tennessee on Saturday, they'll be back in.
Well, I think I don't look at it quite as much as that, though. I guess they could have made those decisions with Georgia and Boise State. Like, ooh, here's what we'll do. We'll tell them that they're 12th. Then we'll show them on the screen as first team out of a 12-team playoff. Do I think that there was at least somebody in the production truck or in the control room that was like, oh yeah. As soon as they realized the way this was going to look, then I would not be surprised if that was the case at all. But I tend to lean more on the side of the committee sometimes will operate with and you know what? We're not really going to stress about this because these 2 teams are about to play, and one it will sort itself out. And that's where it is important that this will sort itself out aspect of it. This will sort itself out because Texas still has to play Texas A&M. This will sort itself out. Indiana still plays Ohio State. Tennessee still plays against Georgia this coming weekend. Like we've got all of these results that are left even before we get to the conference championship game, and the conference championship games will have a huge role in determining some of these seedings and some of these at-large bids. I mean, the idea that you could have a team on the very edge sitting at home all of a sudden find themselves getting bounced because of a result that happened somewhere else is very, very likely. So I'm not going to stress too much over that, because I do think that the committee was thinking of this with the idea, like we're going to slide Georgia down to the rest of the group of the 2 losses. Okay, they've got a loss to Alabama, so we'll put them behind Alabama. Where are we going to put them? Well, we're going to put them ahead of Boise State, because we still think that Georgia, with the win against Texas, which is our number 3 team, we're not going to – Boise State's got nothing there. Their best win is Washington State. So I think Georgia's landing spot makes sense, honestly, when you're just trying to figure out where to slide them down.
Sure, but let me ask this question. If this was the last week, right, do you think Georgia would miss this playoff?
Okay, you come on. Hey, you come on. Tell me about the
Georgia. No, they're not going to leave Georgia out of the playoff.
Tell me about the quarterback who leads the nation with 12 interceptions.
Yeah, he's been a mess. There's no question.
With 14 turnovers leading the nation. Tell me about the offense that can't run the daggum football and has resorted to just throwing desperation screens against Ole Miss like they are a 14-point underdog. Like, Georgia's offense is falling apart. I have no problem looking at the form that Georgia has shown on the football field and say, like, look, I understand what we saw at the beginning of the season against Clemson. I understand what we have seen in glimpses, like the second half of the Alabama game.
Yeah.
But you do not have 4 consecutive quarters of Georgia playing championship level football all that often. Are they still among the most talented teams in the country? Probably top 3. But it is performance on the field, and the performance has been poor. So even like brand this, brand that, I just don't think they have not done enough to be able to get the benefit of the doubt. They will have an incredible opportunity against Georgia in their home stadium.
Against Tennessee. Against Tennessee,
against Tennessee in their home stadium. They are 10-point favorites. There is like an outcome where they win that game by 21 and just totally change the narrative. But even their win against Texas had nothing from the offense. Short field touchdown, touchdown. 1 full field drive by Carson Beck in that game.
Chip, this is why you're on every Wednesday, Chip. For that right there. This is the reason why you're on the show every Wednesday. I get sunned. I love it. I absolutely
Wait,
do.
no, this isn't getting. I mean,
it's fine. It's fine.
It's just applying context to the conversation. That's my only job here. My job is
no. Your job is to sun me.
No, it is to crack my skull open and to spill context into the conversation and let people have the takeaways that they may or may not have.
What do you think, Chip Patterson's here? What do you think is more important, a good win or a bad loss? You can't say both.
No, good win to me.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't matter of personal preference.
Right. No, and like all too often, and we go through this during college basketball, because I don't think they choose teams for the field in basketball based on who you could lose to. At least they shouldn't. They should choose who can you beat, because the whole idea.
They go ceiling over floor.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Right? Unless the rest of your resume is horrendous. Like, I would want to, who can you beat? Right? And I'm not suggesting at all, by the way, that Georgia Tech isn't good or is a playoff football team. But I know Tom, it's a bad loss by Miami. I don't think that's a bad loss. It's a loss because they lost. It's bad because it's a loss. But I've seen Georgia Tech play really good football. And I think, it all depends, I guess, on your perspective. As soon as Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, oh, man, Vanderbilt's pretty good. That's a much better Vanderbilt team than you think. He referred to the Duke loss for, who just lost to, somebody lost to, or beat Duke. Well, Duke's not that good. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Duke's a pretty good football team. They're not great. They're not a playoff team. But
I interpreted the Georgia Tech bad loss as being a bad loss, given the not that it dings their resume as much as it was like, come on, Miami, like you blew.
We all
this.
saw that coming,
right? But
we saw that loss coming.
Like Miami wouldn't have found itself in the position to be 9th in the rankings,
right,
if they had taken care of business.
I thought they were 4th. I saw them 4th in the. Never mind. Chip Patterson is here. What is your scenario for 2 ACC teams in the field?
I believe it's SMU beating Miami in a very close and competitive game in Charlotte. Miami dominant the rest of the way. SMU dominant the rest of the way. Making it such that SMU would be able to jump ahead by virtue of winning the conference and giving somewhat of a high floor for any sort of adjustments for the Hurricanes, given what they've got. Like if Tennessee loses, if BYU takes a loss, Indiana loses. There's ways for Miami to be a lot higher in the rankings heading into the SEC championship than where they are right now. And so I would say the SMU over Miami in a competitive, good game in the ACC championship with both teams playing well to finish out the regular season is the 2-teamer. There is a Clemson path.
I think so too.
There's a Clemson path that's also interesting. But
without playing in the conference championship game, by the way, there's a Clemson path. And
I know. And
that's why I thought last week the more damaging loss for the league was Pitt's loss to Virginia. Because a better Pitt team, if Clemson were to beat them convincingly this Saturday and then beat South Carolina convincingly on the final day of the regular season, a 10-2 Clemson team with, I don't know, maybe Pitt's not ranked, maybe South Carolina's not ranked at the end of the day either, but those are still good enough wins. And I do think that, Clemson has at times played very good football this year. I think there is a path. I don't think it's a great path, but I think there is a path. But I thought that loss to Virginia kind of put a real kibosh on Clemson's path, using the Pitt win as that's a good win, potentially a ranked win. But I'm not sure that's going to be the case. But they probably do have to probably have to win the league. And if they beat Miami, I don't see SMU losing to either Boston College or Cal. But if something like that does happen and Clemson beats Miami in the ACC championship game, I do think both will go.
Yeah, there's a Clemson path. We actually talked about that earlier today on today's edition of the Cover 3 podcast. Bud Elliott pointed out that what Clemson would have going against it if it was a 10-2 non-conference champ, though you will have just had that good win against South Carolina, the nature of the defeats against Georgia and Louisville would both really hurt any kind of last-minute tiebreaker scenarios, because you would have said, okay, what has happened when they've played the best teams on their schedule, and the results would have been, you've got this great win against South Carolina, but in these other instances, you lost by double digits at home and you got the doors blown off at a neutral. And I think that would the nature of those two losses, I think, would end up doing Clemson in if they were left with an at-large. They need to play their best football the rest of the way, but they also need some help to try and get into the ACC championship game.
All right, I'm just going to bring up these numbers here. The total record of this team's 10 opponents is, I do have to do this math in my head now, 40-51. Total record of their 10 opponents is 40-51, and only one of those teams today, has even a winning record. If Indiana loses to Ohio State by, 17 points, are they a playoff team?
So if Washington beats UCLA, that math changes just a little bit.
Washington would go to, I think are they 4-5 or 5-5? I didn't write down who was associated with these records, but again, nobody They have beaten no really good teams. That's my overall point. That's why I don't understand why Indiana's 5th. I don't understand why they're ahead of Penn State. Why they're not ahead of Penn State, because Penn State has a loss to the only really good team they played. Each team has beaten Illinois. That's it. That's the strength of their resume. No bad losses, obviously, but one decent win.
I think they look really good. Like I mean, just
so Indiana's basically in because the last game is Purdue, who's horrendous. They're not losing to Purdue.
They are in jeopardy of getting left out as an 11-1 team based on their strength of schedule.
Right.
Their inclusion right now, I think, is on the backs of not just your undefeated record, but the fact that they have played really, really well against the teams they have faced. ESPN's own strength of record metric has them 6th.
Well,
what would the average team?
Because they're undefeated.
What would the scores have been if the average team had played your record? And until that Michigan game, they'd beaten everybody by double digits. They are one of the most efficient offenses in the entire country. Their defense is top 30. Like I told you about the green numbers and the red numbers.
Yeah, okay. I heard you talking about that. We're a little short on time, but let me just ask you one question about those numbers. What is the context for who you are compiling these numbers against? Are you a top 30 offense or a top 30 defense? Is it schedule adjusted or is it is schedule adjusted?
Yep.
Well, then, I mean, the numbers are weird because they just haven't played anybody. They didn't even play Illinois. By the way, I'm not sure how Indiana and Illinois didn't play, but they did not play. It's a huge league. They didn't play, so they didn't even play the 6-win team that Penn State. Penn State has a better win than
Penn State. Also might have a better win with West Virginia.
Yeah,
honestly, like
5-4.
Yeah, Indiana and Penn State are both maybe in trouble. They are both in trouble.
Yeah, but Penn State's not. I guess Penn State could lose at Minnesota.
And if Penn State loses to Minnesota, they could be in a lot of trouble. If Indiana gets the doors blown off by Ohio State, they could be in a lot of trouble. The only foolproof playoff teams from the Big Ten right now look like Ohio State and Oregon.
Yeah, I actually think that, and I think Ohio State's a bit of a house of cards. They have not looked right really all year long to me. Oregon is, to me, I think the clear best team, and although that was a very close game that Ohio State could have won, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
you get down and slide a little bit earlier. You don't have 12 men on the field. You actually get to kick a field goal and win that game by 2 instead of losing by 1. Like it's as we've said, the sport is compressed. There are no monsters.
Yeah.
And that more than anything is going to make it like, on one hand, the playoffs going to be exciting. On the other hand, there are going to be teams that are going to feel like they absolutely, if they didn't get snubbed, they had a chance in the middle of November and didn't get the job done.
No question. I mean, if Miami doesn't get in because they lose in the ACC championship game this past Saturday is going to be, because look, I love Cam Ward, but man, he leaves a lot of plays on the field through some carelessness, and they make strange decisions at times. But it's college football. It's one of the reasons why it's such a beautiful game, because it is wholly unpredictable. And I do think that through the various different changes to the mechanisms of the game, the talent is more spreading around amongst the best programs. Very few teams are as deep as they used to be because you can get money and the ability to play elsewhere more than ever. So I don't think it's terrible at all. Real quick, if we just had a 4-team playoff this year, it might be the craziest year in the history of college football. If we we might have a year where we have no blue bloods.
Oh yeah, like if it's Oregon and who would you say from the, like, Oregon, Ole Miss, or Oregon and
could be anybody,
Indiana, and yeah.
I mean, it would be wild. It would be wild, but
it would be wild.
Maybe it's just this year. All right, Chip Patterson, I appreciate your time always, sir. And Victoria will not be here Wednesday.
Yeah,
but you and I will.
It's all right. Sounds good. Y'all be well.
Take care. Chip Patterson here on the Adam Gold Show. I am anti. Like I have to restate this. I am anti 12-team playoff, 14-team playoff, 16-team playoff, 24-team playoff. I'm anti all of that. 4, I thought was right. 4 handled what could not be handled in past years, which was a third undefeated conference champion until last year, until they screwed it up last year. But I will say it has made this part of the season more interesting in terms of, hey, what kind of stupid discussions can we have now about college football? Because that's really what the sport's been about, because it's wholly opinion-based. And respect to Chip Patterson, I still believe that they just pretend with a lot of these things.
It also just feels like for these teams that are serious contenders, it's do or die at this point in the year. Like one more loss, and it just pretty much, to me, jeopardizes any chance you get of making it into the 12-team format. I
think Georgia could lose to Tennessee and still make the tournament.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I don't think anybody else can, but I think Georgia can because they still have that win at Texas. If Texas goes, 12-1 and is ultimately the number 2 team in their bracket, and Georgia went there and won, I'm not saying they will. I think they can. But it's really it depends on what else happens around them. You still got to put 12 teams in, right? Like other teams have bad losses. Georgia hasn't lost a bad game unless we determine that losing at Ole Miss is a bad loss. I don't think it's a bad loss. I think it's a loss to a team that probably isn't as talented as them. But I mean, Ole Miss has talent. So, look, to me, in a 4-team playoff, when you lost a game, you were at the mercy of the system.
Right.
Now, that happens when you lose a second game. And if you look at the field, half the field has 2 losses. So, in terms of the teams in the 12-team playoff, half of them have 2 losses. So, or maybe not staring at it, but plenty of them have 2 losses. And I do think that at the end, we'll have, maybe Indiana will be undefeated. If they beat Ohio State, all bets are, they're not only going to be in the field, but they'll be no worse than the 5 seed because that'll be a win at the Horseshoe. But I just think it's been fun to talk about. I don't think it's necessarily great, but I think it's been fun to talk about.
It also has felt chaotic. I will say that this college football season.
But college football is chaos. The games itself. If you watch enough college football, the sport is silly at times. There's wild things that happen in college football, wilder things in that sport than any other sport. It's just crazy and fun. So it's very imperfect because the games don't look nearly as good as the 2 worst teams in the NFL playing against each other. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll stretch. We will place bets. Have I won one this week? I'm not sure I have. Nah, I lost those. Lost that one. Lost that. Lost all of them. All right, we'll try to do better today.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we believe that getting to know you is the best way to protect what you love most. We have friendly agents in every county to help you prepare for the unexpected. And when life doesn't go as planned, our award-winning claims team will be with you every step of the way. Find a local agent today at ncfb.com. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
According to the latest report on farmland loss in the United States, North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. If you own land that may be converted from agricultural use, the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services may be able to help. Grants for the purchase of development rights are available through the North Carolina Agricultural Development and Farmland Preservation Trust Fund. Landowners can learn more at ncadfp.org.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a Generac home standby generator. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Have you lost North Carolina Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? Next time you see a man or woman in uniform, why not stop and thank them for their service to our country? And what about the nurse at the hospital or the cafeteria worker serving your plate? A smile and a word of thanks goes a long way. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind to everybody. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
This is Adam Gold.
Georgia needs Alabama to beat LSU right now. And Georgia fans are beside themselves thinking that they have to root for Alabama for anything. So, I mean, it's messy everywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the ones and twos. I did not mention it a couple of weeks ago, but Grateful Dead legendary bassist Phil Lesh passed away.
Yes, correct.
So we are, in terms of original members of the Grateful Dead, we are down to Bob Weir, Bill Kreutzmann, and Mickey Hart. The last two are both the percussionists. Everybody else has passed. Everybody, all of them. including like the keyboardists that played with them for several, whether it's Pigpen, Rod McKierney, something like that. Brett Midland, who also passed away. I mean, in terms of regular members of the band, not just like Bruce Hornsby every once in a while sat in. But yeah, original members. Jerry passed, Phil passed. It's sad.
Yeah,
it was sad.
It's unfortunate.
It was sad. All right, are you ready to stretch?
Yes, let's try to cheer the listeners up. So this
it's sad that Phil Lesh passed, but it just made me listen to the Dead.
No, you were just recognizing. Yeah,
just made me listen to Box of Rain.
Yeah, exactly. Or Shakedown Street, one of the two. Shakedown Street, the album, also just had an anniversary recently. I'm pretty sure.
You can keep it.
Can't remember how many years, but this is a little bit of a shameless plug here, and also just a little bit of a shout out to some good people over on P Street that helped me get my start. William Peace Men's Soccer to visit Mary Washington in their first ever NCAA tournament. It'll be the first ever appearance for the William Peace Men's Soccer program, who I did play-by-play commentary for during my time there
really?
At school. Their first ever appearance in a Division III men's soccer tournament. They earned their automatic bid after winning their first ever USA South title this past weekend. Jorge Lemus scored the game-winning goal in extra time. The top two-time champions, Brevard, 2-1. It is the first ever time that William Peace has claimed any conference title in any sport as a Division III member.
Did they need a goalkeeper?
I think they're pretty good if they're making it to the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
But they are entering Saturday's first-round contest. Oh, I forgot your son played. Yeah. They are entering a first-round contest on a 6-match win streak. Ooh. Mary Washington, based out of Fredericksburg, Maryland, was ranked first overall in the nation for a majority of the regular season, a 2-time Final Four participant at the Division III level. Mary Washington currently holds a 17-1-2 overall record, and they defeated Christopher Newport 3-2 in overtime for its third straight coast-to-coast conference title. So just say congratulations and a best of luck to head coach Ryan Huber, assistant coach Ozzie Peralta, who is my supervisor for the athletic communications department. Since it revolved around soccer, I figured that you might want to appreciate it.
I'm all about it.
And that's really all I have because we're up against the clock. So let's try to get you on a winning streak when it comes to bets.
Let's do it.
Place your bets. Do you? I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
Yeah, I went over for 3 yesterday. So let's just move on.
I need to start writing down my bets that I do
whenever I'm on
every
your
show, just so I can come
I don't
back.
always make them, but I write them down.
Well, we'll keep a track for the remainder of the year.
I always do.
Let's start with the Carolina Hurricanes, since it's a hockey night in Carolina, taking on the Utah Hockey Club. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, Adam, because I know you've talked about it in the Canes Corner podcast. It feels like Sebastian Aho just hasn't been himself recently. And what I mean by that is he hasn't lit the lamps since that 4-3 overtime win against Vancouver.
This is game 15.
I feel like he's due.
He has not scored a 5-on-5 goal yet this year.
And it's plus value, so give me Sebastian Aho anytime goal score at plus 160 tonight.
That would be nice. We'll take even a power play goal. Plus 160, that's halfway decent value. I do have an Aho wager as well. I'm going to start with college basketball. NC State and Coastal Carolina, Dustin Johnson University. Wolfpack are going to cover the 17.5. We're going over 141.5 plus 226.
And a Wolfpack win.
They're going to cover the 17.5. That's what that's
theoretically. Saw that.
If they cover the 17.5, they should win the game.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
Toronto Maple Leafs versus Washington Capitals. I'm going to stay on the ice. Alex Ovechkin, anytime goal scorer, plus 140. It's hard to believe that this value is plus money since it's hit in 6 of his last 7 games. But 140, it's decent. We'll take it.
Oh, it's fine. It's good. All right. Canes are going to win in overtime. You don't need the Canes to win, but if there is overtime in the game, plus 380.
Plus 380?
Yes.
Wow.
I sense, because they want to keep me awake longer, I sense overtime.
I was just about to say, do you want overtime considering that you have to do the post game and the Canes corner?
No, but I sense it's going to happen.
Real quick, the East Carolina versus Tulsa tomorrow night. Running back Najee Harris has scored 2 more touchdowns plus 195.
All right, and finally, Sebastian Aho is going to go for that goal. 5 or more shots on goal plus 325. Have a little fun, all right? It's supposed to be fun. I give you a lot of value here.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, everything for the exterior of your home. Do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite, yeah.
I want to hear
it. So windows, doors are my favorite products. The reason why is because we are the best at installing them. You know, there's 1,000 different types of windows on the market, doors on the market, different people installing them, different companies. I don't care how good a window you get. If it's not installed properly, it's not going to do you a bit of good. I always tell people, if you buy a submarine window, the best one in the world, and you have me put it on a submarine, you don't want to get in that submarine.
I don't want to get in the submarine either way.
I hear you. So anyway, so that's the thing I say. So it's really important that you have things installed properly. We've been around since 1961. We've got a 4.9 out of 5-star Google review ratings, over 800 reviews. Give us a call. We'll come out and give you a free no-obligation estimate.
It's the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online at aluminumcompany.com.
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Now finance and get $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 12/2/24.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
So I asked Teddy Bruschi on Sunday NFL Countdown yesterday, what is the identity of the Chiefs? And he said to me, Greeny, they don't have one. And that's why they're great. He said, my Patriots teams that won championships, we didn't have an identity. Our identity was winning. What is it going to take today to win the game? That's my identity. We don't have to win this way. We don't have to win that way. Our identity is what will it take to win this game on this day. And the Chiefs continue to demonstrate that. They are 9-0 with a point differential of plus 58. No team in the history of the sport has ever been 9-0 and won the games by fewer points than they have. Some will say that means they're playing with fire. They're bound to lose eventually. I say the Chiefs know how to win as good as any team I can remember in a very long time.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. The Chiefs have become the Patriots. I mean, it's what they have. If you go back and you look at the 20-year run of the Patriots, it can be summed into like 3 bullet points. Best quarterback, best head coach, great defense. That's what the Chiefs are. The rest of their performances this year have been, at best, okay.
Yeah, subpar even.
But they're 8-0.
Good teams know how to win when they shouldn't.
They get lucky. The Chiefs have gotten lucky. Like, no offense, I know they blocked the field goal, but blocking a field goal, some of that is luck. Some of that is luck. So, yeah, they're 8-0. They haven't played great, but they haven't lost. And their schedule has been pretty doggone good.
Bills coming up this weekend, correct?
Yes, this weekend, and then next weekend, it's the Panthers.
Are we ready to talk about that game just yet, or no, let's hold off. Let's hold off.
Let's see what happens this week. I'll say this out loud. If the Chiefs beat the Bills, I'm taking the Panthers to upset the Chiefs next week.
I'm right there with you.
Because it will be a
homecoming for the Panthers after their trip in Germany.
That's right. They're
here
off
this week.
The Chiefs will be 14.5-point road favorites. I don't think it'll be like if the game was in Kansas City, I think the spread would be like 18. But I think maybe 17 points. 14.5-point home underdogs. The Panthers will be. All right, let's do Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Nata Edwards is going to join us in about 15 minutes or so, and we'll talk about the game, a little bit about the game last night, and also the NBA in-season tournament began yesterday. I dig it because I have become a huge soccer fan, and I love the fact that you can win a trophy in the middle of your season for something that they just kind of stick into the schedule. I dig it, and I think the Hornets have a chance to be good in this event. Right? It's like they're almost one-off games. They're part of the schedule, but the Hornets they lost last night.
They lost, and then they lost to the 76ers the night before.
Right, but last night was the first of the in-season tournament games. So the game against the Sixers didn't count.
Yes, 114-89 to the Magic.
Yeah, and Orlando without Paulo Banchero. All right, so the basketball game last night, Duke and Kentucky playing in Atlanta. Last 2 possessions, Duke with a chance to take the lead. It was 72 apiece. Cooper Flagg, turnover. And then after the Wildcats hit a couple of free throws to go up 2, Flagg turned it over again on Duke's next possession. And here's Flagg on the responsibility.
Coach has trusted me to go and make a play. Like he said, it didn't work out. I'm glad he had that trust in me to put the ball in my hands, and I'm looking for it in that moment. It didn't work out, but I'm still going to look for it no matter what.
He's going to get the ball in his hands a ton. We'll see how Duke moves forward with this. I don't think their plan is going to change a lot. I think they're still going to keep running their offense through Cooper Flagg, through Con Knippel. I think last night would have been a good idea to use the two guards a little bit more, but I think Duke's going to run their entire offense through Cooper Flagg. So it is what it is, and he's their best player. All things being said. All right, Booger McFarland from ESPN. He was on set talking about the college football playoff, and according to him, there are some blue bloods who are overrated.
The subjectivity of what the committee is looking at, Texas being ranked where they're ranked, Penn State being ranked over Indiana, even though Penn State has one loss, Indiana doesn't, and Indiana beat the same team that Penn State beat in UCLA, and they dominated them. So the committee using subjectivity when they want to use it.
Yeah, that's what the committee does. That's why I keep saying that to be critical, to call anything, Paul Feinbaum called the fact that Georgia wasn't in the top 12 of the bracket because they were 12th in the ranking, but Boise State was behind them, and Boise State has to go. The fact that you would call that a travesty when the ranking doesn't matter today is like, we can't take everything super seriously. What the committee is doing for these shows, which is why I don't pay attention. It's just a TV show, soap opera. That's it. All it is. All right, I never get a chance to actually hear it because it's on while we're on the air, but Aaron Rodgers did his Tuesday hit with Pat McAfee yesterday, and I think he said the quiet part out loud. Jet fans might not want to hear this, but maybe the season is over.
You got to hold on to that beautiful thing in life called hope, and that's just that there's a chance. You know, we're not mathematically eliminated. There's a lot to play for. At the end of the day, you know, one thing that we can play for, whether we're 10-0 or 3-7, is pride. Pride in your performance, pride in the product you're putting on the field, not wanting to let your coaches down, teammates down, the guys in the locker room, the men and women that you see every day at work. There's got to be pride in that.
Moral victories only for the Jets the rest of the season.
We've reached that part of the season.
I mean, it wasn't quite there, but it's like there are a lot of teams that are out of it. The Panthers aren't making the playoffs, right? Yeah, they're only 3 games out of the division. They're not going to win 3 games. But you still have to go to work. You still have to try to win. And what all of these players do, every single one of them, is they're putting performances on tape. So if you're one of the, I would say 40% of NFL players who are really just temporarily where you are in terms of the roster you're on, every time you play, you are auditioning for the other 31 teams. Last night in San Francisco, the Dallas Mavericks played out the Golden State Warriors. Regularly scheduled NBA game. It's also one of those in-season tournament games because Dallas and the Warriors are in the same division, or in the same group, if you will. But it was the first time that Klay Thompson returned to play the Warriors at the Chase Center or Chase Pavilion or whatever it's called. And let me hear from Draymond Green on facing his former teammate.
You know, when you play against your brother, people always talk about, oh, man, why are those guys close? When you play against somebody you're close with, you want to beat them even more. You know, you want to play well against them even more. And it just raises that level of competition. So seeing him over there, you know, you want to play great. You want to do great things. And that was kind of the mindset.
Steve Kerr is the head coach of the Warriors, coached Klay Thompson for a bunch of years. They won, 4 titles? Tremendous run. Here's Kerr on the return.
Steve, how close were you to crying out there?
I was a little misty-eyed for sure. That was really cool. An amazing moment. Our crowd was great. Klay was great. You could see how much he enjoyed it, and beautiful, beautiful scene.
All right, finally, let's get back to the NFL. Adam Schefter on the fact that the Chicago Bears considered making a change in quarterback?
Yesterday morning, I heard that they were going to consider changing quarterbacks, and almost out of safety to Caleb Williams. And if you watch them over the weekend, he has started to look on the sidelines. What he's seeing, there were a couple of sideline shots that captured him, and it reminded me of the way that Bryce Young looked in Week 1 against New Orleans. He looked shell-shocked and overwhelmed. That's how Caleb Williams looks on some of these sideline shots that I've seen. And so before you ruin the guy, maybe it's time to save the guy. I think it came up. They obviously decided not to do that.
Right, because if they were going to not play Caleb Williams, it should have been at the beginning of the season, not now. Unless you are risking his physical well-being more than the normal day-to-day NFL would. I will say that it's not a coincidence that the Bears have not had even anything resembling a top-notch quarterback ever. Ever. Best quarterback in Bears history is who? Exactly. Anybody? I mean, Jim McMahon wasn't that good a quarterback. Really, if you look at it, you go, ick, not that good. They have not had good quarterbacks in Chicago. It's weird. All right, when we come back, Nata Edwards, our friend Nata the Scribe, on Duke, Kentucky last night, and the NBA's in-season tournament coming up, and maybe a little bit more. Nata joins us next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina.
Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 8:30.
Here come the Hats! A natural hat trick for Marty Natchez. 3-0 Carolina.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. And like everything else I tell you about, trying to save you money. I'm also trying to get you with the best people, with the best customer service on planet Earth. And you get both at Miller Lending. Incredible people. The website's very helpful. Helpful videos will walk you through the whole no closing cost mortgage process. You can also just go there and apply and do everything online. So you don't have to see a human being until the very end of the process. But what we're trying to do is get you a great mortgage without having to pay closing costs. That's going to save you thousands of dollars. And then when the rates come down, and Gordon tells me that within the next calendar year, the rates will be in the 5s. What are they now? In the 7s? We're going to save a lot of money when we refinance. And again, you do so free of charge. So MillerLending.com, that's where you go. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
Will you make the right call? Time's running out, pressure's on, and you need your roof replaced. Hi, I'm Holly from RoofWorks. It's 4th and goal, and the decision's in your hands. The competition can't stop you. You're about to score the game winner. We've trained for years for this moment to raise the roof for you. So avoid the noise and put us in the game. Call RoofWorks today or visit us online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Hey, man, been to Sharky's lately?
Yeah, man, I was there last night with you.
Oh, yeah. The wings and the burgers are killer. They have so many beers, it's hard to choose, you know?
I know. You know, they got trivia on Tuesdays and luck of the draw darts on Sunday, man. I love them both.
Yeah, I love that place, man.
You know what, man? I think Sharky's may be the best bar in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Let's go grab a beer.
Sharky's at the corner of Delta Lake Drive and Durham Road. Open 7 days a week.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. Even if she accidentally knocks out a side accent diamond, Diamonds Direct will replace it free. Now, other stores claim to offer warranties, but the catch is that they won't honor it unless you bring your ring in for regular inspections. But at Diamonds Direct, inspections are never required. There's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Plain and simple, at Diamonds Direct, we stand behind what we sell, and we're committed to service it at no charge for life, period. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more. Official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics, and proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. We got Graham on the ones and twos today. You gave a shout out to William Peace men's soccer, Graham. I'm going to give a shout out. The Wake Preparatory Academy, in just year 3 of their existence, have advanced to the 3rd round of the 1A East playoffs in boys soccer.
Awesome.
A 4-3 win over Triangle Science and Math yesterday?
Sure. We'll go with that.
Exactly. It's exactly what I said. Sure. And they will play tomorrow against Eno River. We don't know where that is going to be played because we are expecting some rain tomorrow, and they have a field that doesn't handle rain well. So we're not sure where that match is going to be played, but congratulations to the Guardians for advancing to the 3rd round. So we'll see if this magical journey can continue. Maybe they can win a cup. The NBA is playing for the NBA Cup. I'm sorry, the Emirates NBA Cup, and we are going to talk about that. But I do want to talk about the basketball game last night. Nata the Scribe, my friend Nata Edwards, Locked On Hornets podcast. You do everything. CBSSports.com. Are you back on Locked On Hornets again?
I freak again. Basically, I'm like the sitting base member. Occasionally, I show up. Every now and again, I'm just a recurring character. I'm
okay.
A couple of cameos here and there.
So I get it. You're like Maya Rudolph.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Exactly.
Do we need
Kamala Harris played? That's what I do.
Do we need Maya Rudolph now?
No, not as much anymore.
Okay.
She'll be back for another couple of. She'll be back for a few other things, but for the official thing, I don't think we need her anymore.
Nata Edwards is joining us here. Nata the Scribe on Twitter. I apologize I just made myself upset. All right, we're going to get to the Emirates NBA Cup in a second. You do the Ion College basketball podcast with Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander. I didn't want to at Gary. The fact that you would drop Duke for 8 spots in the rankings after they just decided not to shoot yesterday, to me is preposterous. But it doesn't matter. What was your takeaway from the game last night?
I still think Duke's going to win the ACC by multiple games. Last night was one of those things where it's a setback, but it'll be a learning lesson. I do think that Duke was the better team, and for a good 38 minutes of it, they were the better team. They had multiple brain farts. I did not like the way Shire used his timeouts because there should have been a timeout left in the chamber for when a late game situation like that happens. It's a learning lesson. I think that was more about Duke playing grown men than much more about like that being Kentucky. There are 3-point defense issues that I think they're going to get handled, but for the most part, I think it's a small learning lesson. And I'm glad we're not making this ACC narrative gate out of the gate right now.
Not yet. It'll happen. We're not. We would never make it about Duke anyway.
Well, fair. But I would also say that not yet. Remember, that's the other national college basketball podcast. The Ion College Basketball podcast doesn't necessarily get into ACC narrative gate unless we start getting closer to February, at least.
All right. Well, which is the other podcast that I don't want to listen to? Get mad at?
No.
Okay.
We're not doing that. I'm not promoting another podcast on your airwaves. No, thank you.
Gotcha. That's fine. The Ion College Basketball podcast is plenty, and that is a great one. The narrative about grown men is real. Andrew Carr has now played 5 times against the Duke Blue Devils in his career. The last 4 came at Wake Forest, and by the way, Carr has scored in double figures in all 5 of those games. So he loves seeing Duke. He was wonderful last night, and he's a good player. I love, and we're not in Lexington, Kentucky, so I'm not going to sit around here and wax poetic about Kentucky, but I loved the fight with which they played. Mm-hmm. There is a grittiness about that group. Again, I only saw them for the first time, and who knows how many other times I'll watch them this year. But I enjoyed the way they just kind of dug in and battled and fought to win that. But your initial point, I thought Kentucky was the better team in the 2 areas that allowed them to win. In the first 2 minutes of the second half, where they forced a couple of Duke turnovers and some bad shots, offensive rebounds, and then in the last 2 minutes. Yeah. I thought in those 2 moments, Kentucky was the better team, and I think for the other 16 minutes of the second half, it's not a blanket. There will be pockets where Kentucky made shots and played good defense, but for the most part, that was a lot about Duke missing.
Yes. That was a lot of Duke not executing. That was a lot of Duke's best player being 17 years old and still trying to figure this out on the fly.
Cooper Flag, 17?
Yeah. Yes. He's
no
not
way.
18 into, yeah, no, exactly.
I haven't heard this. I wish they would have said it last night. I wish Twitter would have reminded me that Cooper Flag was 17. This is the first I've heard of it. Are you sure?
Oh, very, very, very certain about this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you so much, Adam.
I mean, we get it. He's an amazing player. If he's not the first pick in the draft, maybe it'll be Ace Bailey or Ron Harper's kid. I mean, there's some great players coming out. But Cooper Flag's an amazing, amazing talent.
But he had 26 and 15 as a 17-year-old. Like that's the crazy part to all of this. He still had 26 and 15, and it probably ends up with 30, at least a smooth 30, if he just does the right basketball plays and doesn't short circuit.
Yeah,
just basically late. So think about that. He almost put 30 on grown men and really doesn't have a jumper yet. That's the one thing I worry about him. Like honestly, that's the one thing I worry about with him. Because at some point, someone's going to get the message, hey, Cooper can have that 3-point shot. Give him that all day.
Right.
The minute he starts driving, that's when he becomes a lot more dangerous. So as long as he gets the jump shot right, that man is as dangerous as he wants to be. That said, I still think Con Knueppel didn't show up late, and I think that's what bothers me more about what happened with Duke last night.
He was 1 for 8 from 3. Knueppel isn't going to shoot. He's actually shot poorly in I think 2 of the Duke's first 3 games. Duke shot 17% from 3-point range yesterday. They were 3 of 12 in the first half and somehow got worse, 1 of 11 in the second half. If they shoot 30% from 3-point range, they win the game. And
comfortably.
What and I was going back and forth with, I don't know if a mutual friend or not, but Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News this morning, because I watched the game this morning. I was looking for all the things I saw on Twitter last night, all this great defense that Kentucky played, and at times they played good defense. But, man, there was just so many open looks, layups that were missed by Duke as well. And maybe, part of that is, rushing a little bit because maybe they felt some pressure. But Duke left a lot of points out there on the court. The truth of the matter is that if you played this game today, everything being the same, Duke might win that game by 15.
Duke wins this game 8 out of 10 times.
So
let's be real here. At minimum, they win 8. Maybe they win 9. I love that Mark Pope got his first signature win, and it no longer looks like it's 1996 in Lexington, thanks to John Calipari. Thankfully, he took that to Arkansas, where it always looks like it's 1996 or something like that. So I'm glad he took it there.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for the Kentucky fans that said Duke wins that game 8 out of 10 times if they just execute right. And this is going to end up being one of those stepping stone games to where I would not be shocked if they go to Arizona next week and they blow the doors off of Arizona just to make a statement.
Yeah, it could be. Arizona took Duke to the woodshed back here last year. Kanata Edwards at Nata the Scribe on Twitter. I want to leave this, but I'll just close this way. I think that there's more to give from the two Duke guards, and I say that Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple are guards, but Proctor and Foster, I thought Proctor played a great first half and then was essentially, he wasn't even utilized. I'm not even sure he handled the ball, to do anything other than facilitate a pass back to Cooper Flagg in the second half. But I think John Shire was just playing the long game. Let's see how this works. I think they'll self-scout and they'll decide what kind of usage rate they want from Proctor or Foster, or are they going to just do every single possession through Flagg and Knipple, which may or may not be a terrible idea anyway, since they're going to be, high lottery picks both. All right.
Absolutely.
To the Emirates NBA Cup. Are you in favor of this? Because I dig it. We're going to crown a champion in early December. So what? Like in a month, we're going to crown a champion of this. I love that LeBron and the Lakers won the first one. Do you dig this or no?
Of course I love fun. We're getting games that quite literally are increased in the intensity. I'm not saying we're getting playoff intensity, because playoff intensity and November and December do not match. But you're getting games that actually matter. You're seeing, Portland. Look at what Portland did last night. That's the kind of stuff that you don't necessarily get in normal regular season games, and you're getting stuff like that. Look at the Atlanta Hawks, who basically, for the second half, took the Celtics to the woodshed. Now, granted, a lot of that is on the Celtics for basically going brain neutral for a little bit. But for the most part, this is intense games. Again, you're putting the one thing we know about these NBA players is that they are extremely competitive. And the other thing we know is when there's money involved and there's a prize involved in this, they get super competitive. So of course they're going to love this. I love the fact that we're getting really competitive basketball out of the gate. And unless you hate the courts, and some of them are indefensible.
Yeah.
Some of those are indefensible. But the game itself is better than what you normally get at this point in the season.
I think we could do, different uniforms, different themed uniforms. I think we should do that. But I don't. The courts, we don't. We don't need that. It's
some of the courts are bad.
It's abusive.
Again, some of the courts are bad, but also at the same point, you do need a signifier to say, hey, this is different than normal regular season games. And you can't necessarily assume competence among the average consumer. So I get why they make a bold statement to say, this is radically different from every other regular season game.
By the way, the added pressure certainly rattled Eric Spoelstra, who called a timeout he didn't have, and they lost to the Pistons Quickly back to the Celtics, did you consider, Nata, that the Celtics might have thought it was game 2 of a playoff series?
Probably.
Because this is what normally happens in game 2 of a playoff series. They just completely go to sleep.
Either that or Joe Mazzulla only watched The Town like once that day instead of 3 times that day.
Is there a group of death? Because in every World Cup, there is a group of death. Is there a group of death for you among the 6 different groups of group play in this Emirates Cup?
Not really. Last year was worse. Last year was worse because you had the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Heat, and the Hornets, ironically, in one group. So it wasn't that bad. They've balanced it out a little bit better this year, especially out west. So I don't think there's that group of death this year where it's just, oh, man, the winner's going to be 2-2. Now, I think it's pretty balanced. I think we're going to get to Vegas with 4 very, very interesting teams. I don't think Milwaukee's going to be amongst them because they have their own little issues. I don't think the Lakers are necessarily going to get there to defend their NBA Cup. I have questions and concerns about the entire roster, but I do think we're going to get a really interesting Final Four out of this group at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. I like West B because OKC, Phoenix, the Lakers. I don't know if Utah's any good. By the way, San Antonio. Our best to Greg Popovich, who had a mild stroke today or yesterday, as he's recovering from his illness. Love to, you forget he's been around for so long in this. Let me ask you real quick about the Bucks before we say goodbye to Kanata Edwards. There's apparently some conversation about trading Dame Lillard. I don't know who would trade for Damian Lillard, but I thought that they were going to trade Giannis.
I don't think you can trade Giannis unless he directly says, yo, I want out. Honestly, the only way you think about trading Giannis is if Oklahoma City, with their treasure trove of picks from basically every team in the league, if they came up and said, I'll give you 4 of these picks for the roster spots that we don't necessarily have for Giannis and a bunch of cap filler. That's the only team I could see that could say, hey, we can trade for Giannis and Milwaukee not look like absolute fools. But trading for Dame Lillard, that feels like something Miami's going to do, quite honestly.
He doesn't help you win?
No, he doesn't. But at this point, you see what Miami is right now. They're a shell of themselves. And that seems like a move that a Miami would do. And because they're always going to be, they're always wanting to seek to be relevant. And, there are a couple of picks out there, including in Charlotte, that are unprotected in the next few years that you don't necessarily want to give up the first pick in the draft for.
Oh, man, if I'm a team that wants to win in the NBA, Damian Lillard isn't the guy I want unless Lillard will accept just leading my second unit. That, to me, I'd almost has Lou Williams left Magic City yet? Because to me, I'd rather have a Lou Williams type than a Damian Lillard type. I just don't think Damian is a player who will help you win. I love Dame, but he's.
Remember that you're talking about a top 75 player of all time. Remember?
I understand. I understand.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that guy has fallen off that far, but at this point, he can't defend me or you.
He can't. That's it.
And quite literally, the offense that he provides is no longer worth the defensive liability he's been, which is a very, very, very that's just a horrible indictment of a guy at this point.
All right, man. That's Kanata Edwards at Nata the Scribe on Twitter, my friend. I will talk to you very soon. Best to Gary and Matt and others, and I will talk to you later.
Absolutely. We got to talk hot stove, Mets hot stove next.
No, as soon as they sign Soto, we're on it.
Well, as soon as they re-sign Alonso, I don't think Soto's coming.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Exactly.
All right, man. This is Kanata Edwards, Nata the Scribe on Twitter. Look, as a Mets fan, I like Pete Alonso. I would just let him go. I certainly wouldn't invest a lot of money in him. Put that money into pitching. I think that Pete Alonso is I know he had a great postseason for him, but More likely than not, Pete Alonso's kind of empty calories. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We have a rewind. We'll get back into some college football. Canes play tonight. We will talk about what I believe should be Carolina's next major move. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
If you are in need of a midweek boost, FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, has you covered with the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Who named that? That's fantastic. Every Wednesday now, you can get parlay profit boosts on everything from spreads to totals, even player props. So don't let the weekends have all the fun. Take advantage of Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Who knows? Might be your favorite day of the week. Look for the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Visit us online at actce.com to schedule a demo. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
According to the latest report on farmland loss in the United States, North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. If you own land that may be converted from agricultural use, the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services may be able to help. Grants for the purchase of development rights are available through the North Carolina Agricultural Development and Farmland Preservation Trust Fund. Landowners can learn more at ncadfp.org.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Did you and your family lose North Carolina Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello there, it's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
It's that time of year to come see me. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most.
By getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective.
Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against new virus strains.
So make sure you don't miss that family gathering and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the ones and twos. Victoria with the first of, or the latest in a long line of Wednesdays off. I do not believe Chip Patterson and that relationship can be recovered.
Yeah,
but you're here now.
I got a Chip message that says, wow.
Yeah.
I did. I already got it, so we're starting.
So how was lunch?
It was good. We missed you. Your name was called
nobody
because
missed
you've been
me.
here for
15
5
years.
plus years. So
Yeah, 15 years.
But I cheered for you. I was there
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you can't even see yourself in the camera.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They can't. I'm not Graham.
Here you go.
Hi.
There you go. There's Victoria.
Yeah,
She's
but
on
we missed
camera.
you, so
Nobody missed
I
me.
have to mend things with Chip next year.
Like, I never hear when people come back from the long-term luncheon, I never hear, oh, you were missed. Because I wasn't. It's no big deal because we don't do anything. We just sit there and eat.
There's first time for everything.
There is. This would have been it. This would have been the one where I was missed. Well, I'm glad you had fun.
Yes,
I'm glad
it was
lunch
delicious.
was good. Right?
Now I need a nap.
Yeah. That's the thing. That is the thing. After the long-term lunch, everybody is like, oh, I can't go back to work. I'm just going to sleep in my car. That's all I'm going to do. All right, so Canes in Utah tonight against the hockey club. Again, I dig the name. Also, the color scheme, very cool. We'll see them tonight. 9 o'clock, if you're listening on the radio, 8:30 for Stormwatch. Game just after 9. The post-game show as soon as the game is over, and then the Canes Corner podcast. If I had to guess, I would say around 12:40 tonight. Around 12:40, 12:30, 12:40. If there's overtime, be a little later. So youtube.com/Canes Corner podcast, and you'll find us there. So I mentioned the one move, if I were the Carolina Hurricanes, the move that I think they should make now. I don't know how successful they will be with it, but I think they should try it now. So when we talked to Luke DeCock earlier, and I asked him about the Hurricanes, and Luke's covered this team as long as I have, he talked about Jack Roslovic. And Roslovic has been great. He's got 9 goals in a season, leads the team in goals. William Carrier signed a long-term contract already. Shane Gostisbehere, same thing. Sean Walker, same thing. So there are 5 veteran newcomers on this team. I'm not going to count Tyson Jost just yet because he's about to play his second game. By the way, looks like Seth Jarvis will miss his second consecutive game. He is day-to-day with an upper body injury. But of the new players who are on one-year deals, and that's really Roslovic and Eric Robinson, I would sign Eric Robinson tomorrow. No, I would do it I would do it yesterday. Eric Robinson is a perfect fit for what Carolina wants to do. I don't think it is a coincidence that Martin Necas exploded when Eric Robinson jumped on that line. Kotkaniemi, Necas, Robinson, it's a pretty strong line. It's at least playing incredibly well. Robinson has size, he is fast, and he plays direct. That's a Hurricane to me. I'm not putting him in the Jordan Martinook category because I think Martinook is a unique being in terms of leadership and the way he plays and the fact that he does it the same way every single shift. I'm not saying that's Robinson, but I think that he is exactly what the Hurricanes need. They need bigger bodies. When we talk about what has held Carolina back in the postseason, so much emphasis is placed on, well, we need somebody to get that goal. I think they have the guys that can get that goal. Unfortunately, I think the Hurricanes are also a relatively small team. If you look around the league, there's a whole lot of 6'3", 6'4" on forward lines. You look around when the Rangers throw Chris Kreider on the ice, right? Big body. Alexis Lafreniere, big body, right? It's not that everybody's big, but there is size. The Hurricanes, Jordan Stahl's big. 6'4", 235 or whatever he is. He's a horse. He's an elk.
Brent Burns.
He's a moose. Yeah, Brent Burns is big but doesn't play a physical game. Jacob Slavin is big but doesn't play a physical game.
They're more skilled.
Yeah, they're finesse players. Both of them are finesse players. That's the one thing about Carolina's blue line that, I'm not saying they're going to have to address. They just have to overcome. They're not a physical blue line. Sean Walker throws some hits, but, he's small. Shane Gostisbehere is a finesse player. I think the most physical player on the blue line is probably Dmitry Orlov.
Yeah.
But I think Carolina needs size in the forward group. And if you look at all of their top prospects, they're all small. Among the forwards, there's a couple with size. I think Gleb Trikazov's got size, but he's just a goal scorer. He's not a physical player. To me, that's what has held them back. Robinson brings size, a direct nature. That's the guy I would sign tomorrow. I would figure out a way to keep him here for, you don't have to sign him to an 8-year deal.
No.
But if you could figure out a number that he'd be comfortable with on a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal, I would do that yesterday. So there is my TED Talk with the Carolina Hurricanes. Look forward to tonight's game. They are big favorites in Utah.
Well, it's because Utah has been all over the place. Last time I checked, their record's 6-3, 3 losses in overtime so far this season.
Yes, they and they won their first 3 games of the season, so they have just 3 wins in their last dozen games. Yeah, they're better than Utah, but you're talking about being on the road, this is Utah's first game back home after a 4-game road trip.
And they're coming off a shutout loss.
They've been shut out in 2 of their last 3 games. They've been shut out 4 times this year. They are offensively challenged at times, but most people thought that they would be good, that like a lot of people picked them to make the playoffs this year. And I guess there was a lot of enthusiasm, and now you look at the roster and you go, why did we pick them for the playoffs this year?
Wild card, potentially.
Yeah, but they're
going to need some luck.
I don't think they're that deep. I think they're going to struggle to score goals all year long. They do have some nice pieces on the blue line, but I just think they're going to struggle to score goals all year long. Clayton Keller's a good player. Lawson Krause, who's kind of in an offensive funk, he's a good player, but they don't have a lot of really. It's the Arizona team with a few other pieces thrown in. And Miguel Sergachev on the back end. It's basically the team from Arizona that wasn't very good.
Just with some players that you got from the expansion draft.
No, they didn't get anybody from the expansion draft. They're not an expansion team.
That's right. I'm thinking of the Kraken. That's my fault.
It's a joke. They're not even. It's Arizona's team. Nick Bjugstad's still there. Anyway, tricky game, I think, for Carolina tonight. I think overtime. Marty Necas wins it with the overtime goal and extends his point streak to 11. But I think he will have extended his streak already at that point during the game. All right, should we rewind? Running theme for me when it comes to college football. Voters, whether it's the media poll or the coaches, committee members when it comes to the playoff, they don't really care about who you have played. They only care about how many games you have won. Chip Patterson from CBSSports.com picks it up.
In the end, I think that they care about. I think they care about who you beat when it comes to splitting ties among teams that they find similar.
Yeah. As a tiebreaker, yes. To enforce a narrative, yes. But And I'm not saying I think Indiana and Penn State, they're both in my field. I did my own bracket on Monday, and I had Indiana as an 8 and Penn State as an 11, and they have them 4th and 5th in the ranking. How on
which
this
is different? Which is also first of all, like let's go ahead and expand to 16, or let's go ahead and just expand to 14, because I cannot handle your seed number and your ranking number both being presented at the same time. College football fan, like this is legalese that is like, intended to make you confused so that they can just force you to the final result. It is, in my opinion, just so hard for fans to wrap their mind around, because the really hardcore fans don't care. The really hardcore fans root for their team, and they want their team to win. And if their team gets included, it was the right decision. And if their team does not get included, then it was all a conspiracy against it. Like, you're so deep into your own well that's like, those are the only results. But there are pro sports fans across America that thought the idea of the college football playoff was really interesting and are watching, especially in a large, big event, the lead in to the Cooper Flag show and everything else.
Yeah.
I think a lot of sports fans watched it. And they said, "Wait, hold on. So the 5 is actually the 2, and the 4 is actually the 6, and the 3 is the 9." And it's just, it is not doing a good job of promoting the product. It is not doing a good job of getting people to buy into the idea that this is going to be something that's good for college football. So, what are the answers to it? I say just like expand even more moving forward.
Let's go to 16.
Ultimately, let's just clean this up, because it is incredibly confusing for fans to get their mind around exactly what's happening.
And I don't believe Chip Patterson, who joins us every Wednesday. I wrote it down. Indiana, just of their conference opponents, going to the last 3 weeks of the regular season, their conference opponents are overall 31-34. So there's not even good records in there. In fact, as we sit here today, only one of their opponents has a winning record, and that's 5-4. They have not played a team this year that to this point has more than 5 wins on their schedule. Their 3 non-conference opponents combined are 9-19. And yet they're 5th in the college football playoff rankings. Again, it doesn't matter who you played. There's no incentive to play anybody if that gets rewarded. Penn State, not much better. At least they did play West Virginia in the non-conference. But Penn State's overall opponents in Big Ten play to this point are 14-19. They have played nobody in the Big Ten currently with a winning record in league play. Nobody. They 3-3, 3-4, 2-5, 3-3, 3-4. Illinois' best team they played. Illinois 6-3 on the season, and the records of Illinois' non-conference opponents is 8-21. So I was told that this was going to allow for teams to play better teams.
More competition.
I remember when the Big Ten and the SEC had their meeting in Nashville when the 2 conference poobahs got together, and Greg Sankey we're trying to figure out a way where we could have our teams play their teams to create bigger matchups. I'm like, they have that right now. That possibility exists right now. We don't need a gimmick. We just say, you want to play? But these teams don't want to do that because they're smarter than that. They understand that it doesn't matter because every year teams get rewarded for playing crap non-conference schedules. Now, I think we have a minute left here, Graham. So I'm going to ask you this question. Would you give Texas the benefit of the doubt because they agreed to play at Michigan. Even the Michigan's no good this year. They're a mediocre football team at best. Do you give them the benefit of the doubt?
If Michigan had gone on to have, I think, the season that maybe a lot of people maybe were expecting for them to, after winning a national championship last season, then yes.
Well, here's why I would give them the benefit of the doubt. They scheduled it. Texas didn't know that Michigan was going to be trash, right?
That was, what, a week 3, week 4 early matchup?
Week 2. They didn't know Michigan was going to be bad. When they played, Michigan was the 10th-ranked team in the country. And I'm not saying it should count for more. I'm just saying when it gets right down to it, I will give Texas credit for trying. Certainly more than Penn State, sort of. Anyway, Graham, thank you very much. We'll do it again next Wednesday. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye.